Futures are gapping up ahead of what's setting to be a pretty massive week for the markets. You have the S&P 500 set to trade, or rather open sharply above where we closed. NASDAQ looking very similar here. NASDAQ actually this high pre-market is the pre-market high from Friday. So interesting look here for the QQQs. This level here of 696 could serve as some resistance. If you look at here at USO as well, big gap down. And of course, this coordinates with the gap up in the markets. We have potentially a sign of easing tensions between the U.S. and Iran, at least temporarily. U.S. pausing strikes against Iran after pretty much 2 weeks of straight strikes. So we're gonna have to wait and see if this pause continues. But right now, not a great look here for USO. Good look for the market. We do have some housekeeping for this morning at 8:30 a.m. You're gonna be getting the durable goods orders print. It's going to be month over month for June. 10:30 a.m. much smaller print here. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. We also, though, have a whole bunch of earnings to talk about this week. We've got a lot of different fintech companies: PayPal, SoFi. You've got the likes of Boeing and Ford, but you also have 4 of the 7 Meg 7 names. You've got Apple and Amazon on Thursday. On Wednesday, you'll get Microsoft and Meta. Lots of catalysts to talk about just today. Even you've got Nvidia here. Whole bunch of different stories. OpenAI potential deal here. They're also working with some other companies on an effort here to, I guess, have a frontier AI protection group after the Hugging Face OpenAI situation last week. You've got Broadcom and a tie-up with Samsung, SpaceX here after that launch of Starship, the 13th flight. So lots of different stories to discuss in a lot of different sectors, mostly tech. Good morning, Sharif. Happy Monday.
Likewise, Adair. Thank you very much. Yes, lots to talk about this morning, guys. As Adair mentioned, Nvidia and a bunch of different headlines, whether they're striking a half trillion dollar deal here with SK Hynix for some memory, or they're backstopping the latest data center acquisition by OpenAI so that OpenAI can have better lease terms. Take your pick. Or, of course, Jensen going on X, creating an X account for the first time ever. Didn't have one. I didn't even know that. Just to kind of put out that little mini white paper that he had there with respect to open source models, open weight models, very important. Getting the endorsement of many of the tech leaders, Meg 7 names included, but there are other names, as Adair mentioned, but it's mostly tech focused. CXMT, that is the Chinese huge memory maker, developer, manufacturer. They just IPO'd in China. One of the most well-received IPOs in that country's history, already up 466%. Rocket Labs, Adera, they've got a U.S. Space Force tie-up. Paramount Skydance, this one might be on pause here as the regulator continues to deep dive into that one. State regulator. Synopsys as well, and AstraZeneca this morning with earnings. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some quantum. Neil had it up on his screen just moments ago. Quantum, QBTS, D-Wave, and AT&T expanding their AI partnership.
Yeah, lots to talk about. Again, mostly tech sectors, but I do have a crypto catalyst in focus that looks like it just came through here. CRCL trading a little bit higher. Apparently, Circle agreeing to buy blockchain patent portfolio from IBM. This portfolio apparently consists of over 680 patent families and nearly 1,000 issued patents across the globe. So nice look here for CRCL. Let's see if it can maintain this little bounce as we send you over to Sean and Neil for the first time this morning. Good morning to both of you. How was your weekend?
Yeah, good weekend for sure. And well, we'll see. The market's looking pretty happy today.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny because some of the names aren't really up that much.
No, well, we'll take up.
It's a better feel.
Good. Oil's way down. 7 points on 7 points down for USO. And while we might be up over a percentage on the NASDAQ, it's like one of those across the board bounces. But it could change rather rapidly throughout this week. Monster earnings. Obviously, Wednesday is going to be a massive day, and you've got the Fed. Plus, any moment you can get more headlines at the wazoo, like here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, if you happen to be looking at the oil prices here, certainly a good start to the week. Some of those small cappers probably getting punked a little bit. And I mentioned this one to Sharif. I'll get it out of the way. Might be in play that KIDZ stock again.
Oh, is that another one?
So that penny stock from, I believe it was mid last week, had a bit of a rally. CEO comes out and says, hey man, our cash position is like 3x our the actual stock value, the market cap. So that stock getting a bit of a bounce, although they're already starting to sell it off a bit. So yeah, a lot going to be in play. Don't forget, I know we have a lot of earnings this week, but think about the things that are day 2, day 3. Your Intels, Tesla, of course. Those are a couple of big ones to continue on watch. Successful launch for SpaceX, but we told them you're expected to have successful launches. So that's not that big of a deal. You know, if there had been something wrong on Friday, I think that would have been an issue, obviously. But the fact that they were able to pull it off, mostly, there was kind of a hard splashdown there, which is something they'll figure out. But they're actually down very slightly here. So not the bounce you were looking for, because the market was probably pricing in rosy things for SpaceX going forward. So you kind of got to do better than just meet expectations.
Yeah, I mean, we're all waiting for that August 4th, earnings report. And, report. The word earnings. Let's say quarterly report coming for SpaceX. We're not expecting too many earnings, but we are expecting Google to bounce back today. I'm going to have this as one of the top ideas on my list today. You know, day 3 plays. Neil just mentioned we really like the rally back here in Google. So let's see if we can now, sort of base out at that low. And that's just what I'm writing down here, is that we've had, a decent look down here at 319 to 320. Bounced off quite nicely there all Friday. So we did close at the lows. I mean, it wasn't a nice close there, but nice bounce back today. I don't know. I'm feeling like a little bullish, but yet bearish a little bit today. I don't know. I don't have like the same love, I don't think, for the market that it's showing right now. It's underneath VWAP right here. Name like Intel, still traded well so far here today. Good volume and trying to hold up. But it's just like I want to be reminded of like Friday and what was happening the day before. We had that nice little bump up and then gave it all back there. We did have earnings, of course, on Thursday for Intel. So just a day 2 play there for them. We'll see how they react here today. But it was straight downside all Friday. And we'll have to wait to see if the bounce is real here and if we can hold some of those bids. Nice to have Videra back, but we still have Oracle problems, of course, as they're back down into 118. And we saw a big dip down for Oracle as well on Friday, touching out at 114. Are they for real on this bounce back? Like, there's going to be a lot of names that are going to come right up to some levels that I think can get faded again, like real quick. I don't know. I'm not convinced on this market. And I know that it's getting bumped up because of oil here, oil down 7%, and not helping the bears here for the stock market. I mean, that's giving a little bit of a boon here today to the NASDAQ. But yeah, oil just coming back into the 50 period. And I don't know if it's ironic or not. We've been calling it a little too far, too fast. And then we get a couple days of extension over the 50 and we get right back into that 50 again right now. So oil going to see about a tipping spot right here for USO. And then, yeah, you mentioned Tesla. I mean, this stock's pretty beat up one more time here, bouncing again today, but well hit off of earnings. So I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of these names that really are going to try to battle back. And as Neil mentioned, we have big tech earnings this week, and I'm just not sure that it's rally time in the tech space. You could look for, we heard Adair mention SoFi, some fintech names. SMR down here is pretty beat up. And then, yeah, nice to see QBTS back up to the upside there as well. And I guess Neil and I looked at each other and said, I guess QBTS was a New York stock because we had switched over symbols there, and we don't have data past Friday there. But this is what QBTS is looking like here on eSignal. Still really nasty, right? But you're seeing it today up a couple bucks there. What was it, 17.50 or so? Yeah, so eight bucks right now, up to 17.50 off of a 16.10 or so close there on Friday. So we'll wait to see if quantum starts to get a little popular to talk about one more time here, as AT&T reaching some sort of a deal. But hey, AT&T's got to do a lot of work, man. I mean, these stocks have been,
they got their own issue.
Yeah, really beat up. I think it's like 7 or 8% dividend. Oh, okay, it's battling back nicely here though over the last little while. That must have been earnings there. Verizon came out with earnings. I don't know if we missed AT&T last week, but yeah, actually they're doing quite well now. That's a nice battle back there for AT&T. So we'll see what's going on there. I actually thought it was still going this way. So nice month or so there for some of the wireless carriers here. Is that the same thing for Verizon? Because that's a nice bounce back there. So I don't necessarily think that this space is the greatest space to be in. So wow, that's yeah, those are nice little bump ups there.
Relief
in
rally.
the telecoms. Yeah, that's a good one. I should sell my Rogers. This is the one that I've been most nervous about there. If it's going to the Rogers is still a shit show. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be selling it down here. That's bad. Hopefully, we can get back up to the upside here. This is our big telecom, and we also have,
there's also
BCE, yeah, is down here probably as well. I don't know. Yeah,
no, they're not any better.
Yeah, they're maybe even worse. And TELUS was another one that's not the greatest. We do have Michael Noss coming through today. See what sectors he wants to talk about. But yeah, man, should be a good another trade today as we look different parts of the market. I'm not super excited about tech, to be honest with you. It's a nice little bounce up today, but there's just so much happening this week that it's a little nervous to get too excited about it all.
1 in 3 chance at a rate hike on Wednesday.
Is that what it is now?
Well, okay, let's double check.
It was only 18% on last week. Did it bump up?
Yeah, 1 in 3 chance at a rate hike. I mean, you know what? Like that's about as I don't think we've had that level of uncertainty in quite some time. Where there's an actual chance. You'll likely see this change over the next couple of days, but that in dispute meeting gives a little bit of uncertainty to the market. Market's probably not going to like any notion of a rate hike, but whether you think they do or not, I still tend to think they don't. But that level of uncertainty could hurt things. You got Rocket Lab they got a deal, but it's barely even doing extra volume. Trying to hold on. This one seemed like it could have been a good breakout, but they're already starting to sell this one off in the pre-market here. So yeah, the exuberance, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of big-time continuation. And of course, when Iran's coming out saying they deny this ceasefire, it's like, what are you supposed to do? But you know what? There are plenty of small cappers, Sharif, but they're all penny stocks. The ones I was all seeing are all penny stocks today. What's got your eye?
Penny stocks need love too, Neil. Let's not be mean to the penny stocks, okay? Let's have a quick look here, see what's going on. We got LGHL, that's the #1 gapper in the market right now, but true to form with a lot of these ones, they are losing the bid. This is very expensive, obviously. It's $122, probably stay away from that. MTNB, I saw this one on the watch list this morning, the free watch list, breaking down below the volume-weighted average price as well, which is around 43 pennies. That one's lost trend. DFNS, I mean, if there's anything here, I'll be looking at this. Some resistance at 8. The biggest move, though, I hate when this happens. The biggest move at 4 a.m. on volume makes the high and then trends down subsequently. So DFNS in focus, BIYA, also trending a little bit above the volume-weighted average price. It's got some topping till candles into 3. I'd be really watching out for sellers in and around that 3 area unless you can decisively take it out. And then last but not least, we've got a buyout here, Neil. I don't know if you had eyes on this one, FBRX, kind of moving sideways here at around $76, $76.50 a dare.
Let's talk a little bit here about oil. As Neil mentioned, there's some, of course, more back and forth, more inconsistency between what the U.S. is saying and what Iran is saying. But U.S. pausing here strikes against Iran after roughly 2 consecutive weeks of nightly strikes, and Iran saying that, hey, we're not in talks with the U.S. in any way, including on a potential 10-day deal or pause.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Adair, but let's get to what's going on here. So let's go to the map here if we can, Assassino. So this is Saudi Arabia, obviously, and I want to show you guys what's happening. So there's this east-west pipeline right now where a lot of oil is being diverted, and clearly it's being diverted here to get around from the strait, right? This is where the Omanis have been trying to keep a little bit of a channel open. Saudis are just foregoing that, and they're yet sending it through the east-west pipeline. Problem is, there's 2 directions you can go when you get to the Red Sea. You can go north, you can go south. If you go north, you go to Egypt, right? You go through the Suez Canal, which is fine, but that means you got to go into Europe. But a lot of this oil needs to go to Asia, so it needs to go south. So it needs to go through the Bab el-Mandeb. Bab el-Mandeb is on basically, it's right in the middle of Somalia and Yemen. And that's where the Houthis are hanging out. And now they're expanding this war, because they're starting to attack Saudi ships that are heading south. And those ships are going to Asia, exactly where the oil is needed, because that's where the supply issue is. So we have a major problem here that is starting to expand. It's not just expanding in Bab el-Mandeb. It's also expanding, Adair, in the Caspian Sea. All of a sudden, the Iranians have decided, look, we're going to send some, allegedly, of course, we're going to send some weapons to Russia, and we're going to take the Caspian Sea north. So the Ukrainians obviously are not just going to sit around and be like, yeah, hey, send weapons. So they're starting to attack Iranian ships in the Caspian Sea. So not only do we have 2 fronts, but a possible third Adara, all that with oil down 7%.
There's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack. Are you guys looking to trade oil or any oil-related plays today?
small cappers that we've been following try to go up, I would want to try to fade those. So when you look at this, it's a pretty hefty move back in, like that 7 points, and you're already getting a little bit of relief rallying here. Obviously, I know we're getting some good news here, but it doesn't feel like anything is over just yet. I think that if we get the right headline or the wrong headline, I suppose, like if you get any kind of a spike, I looked at what happened to a couple of these, specifically SkyQ on Friday. Like this thing, it didn't really matter that oil prices were trending up. They were just tanking almost all day long. So I feel like looking for any kind of a bounce in USO, and then if this tries to follow with it, it would seem like an obvious fade the way that they sold this off. Otherwise, it's just wait for. I think it's really usually been about wait for a reaction headline so that you can fade it. Realistically, I don't think we got anything too crazy in the middle of the day outside of that one tank, right? Like you allow something to happen, big volume spikes, and then play the direction in the other way. And that's all week long. It was really only on Friday that you would have had that opportunity, and then you could have seen things rally after that. So the only thing I'm really looking at is going to be that SkyQ. If USO continues on this uptrend, if it drags that stock up with it, that $5 level looks like it can be shorted because that thing just dumped all over itself. Like the relationship between energy prices and that completely broke on Friday, so I'd look for a continuation there.
Yeah, I think USO just fell back into the 50-period moving average. So, it's been a nice story. Sharif just told us, all about the geography there and what's been happening. I am hearing that East-West pipeline is going to be all completed very, very soon, and that's going to create less demand going through the strait, which should help oil prices. I mean, that's why oil's not absolutely ripping right now, is because there are workarounds to that Strait of Hormuz, and China's stopped buying all that oil anyways. So it's not like a huge demand point anymore, but still needs to be resolved. And it's nice to hear that there's some sort of a ceasefire discussion here regarding, potentially Israel and the United States coming up with some sort of a plan here that they can wrap their heads around. Now, how long this will last for, nobody knows. But I think it's at a pretty good spot right here of 125, 126. Now, we are bouncing nicely off of that. So I think you just want to wait to see if we can break through the day's low here at 126.50. Let it get a little bit, higher here, let it rally, and then hopefully, you can kick it back down with as more good news comes out. I mean, if we get, unfortunately, escalation there, you mentioned the Houthis, I don't think that they're too happy with, the way situation's going as well. President Trump actually mentioned them, I think, last week. We'll see if that plays. But yeah, I like oil down here, 126.50. If we break lower, then I think that you can punch it. But right now, it's a nice move up, man. It's up about $1.50 here in the last 20 minutes. So USO doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be too concerned here with any of this talk. But, down 6%, still nice. But what a move it had last week, right? I mean, we gave it all back there. So now we just have to wait and see if we wind up holding it. Oh, breakfast is here, and it's samosas, so it wasn't just. Well, I thought it was coffee.
Not fruit today. It's
samosas.
Samosas
there today. Smells good though.
Usually do. I'm guessing it's a beef like usual.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Thanks, Randy, for that. And breakfast is here early, I guess. It's not normally.
I know.
I guess it's scrambled eggs, right, Randy? Is that what they always match with this? Boiled eggs today. Okay, so normally it's sort of.
No bananas though.
Oh, no bananas?
Can't get that fruit.
Yeah, they have a nice little fruit mix, though. They have the watermelon and some of the other melons there, and some pineapple.
There's a couple of small cappers. Just one of them just popped pretty significantly. Edible Garden wins a significant Walmart distribution for fresh cut herbs across the Mid-Atlantic. So that headline has it 165% for Edible Garden. What's the float here? 638,000 float.
Only if you knew that deal was coming. This thing's going to break $10.
15% short. So Edible Garden, I don't see any, I'm kind of browsing through, it doesn't really have any financial details on this, but 640,000 float is a little bit.
Significant expansion. A little bit fresh herb distribution.
There you go. So Edible Garden's another small capper now here.
Yeah, it's starting to go. I mean, it just bounced off that $10 marker. There, EDBL. It's already just broke through that 4.55. Looks like they did get a reverse split situation there from 4. Yeah, so it looks like they went 10-1 back in February, so not great for them. right there as a float. That's why the float is low, right? It's because you went 10 to 1. So if you had 5 million shares outstanding, yeah, you went 10 to 1, so you went 500,000. So that's why Neil just reads that 600,000 share float right there on a deal here with Walmart. Now remember, it's not going to halt in the pre-market for any sort of movement there, because we just went from 950 down to 750. So that would have been a halt down. But you got to be careful, obviously, as these names, but dancing here. But that's a good one. Finally, just no volume until 5 minutes ago. And then boom, again, right there. So watch out here for an 820 break. Looks like we may take it out here. Edible Garden, the next one, starting to get back up to the upside. So yeah, good look there. 820, look, Sharif, looks like we found one here, EDBL. Finally starting to get going there. It looks like it'll be above VWAP for a minute. You just got to let it settle down and give us some more, points of interest here. But yeah, there it goes, $8 EDBL. Congratulations, anybody that's in this name here, as they get a deal. Looks like with Walmart. I mean, hard to complain about that.
Yeah, you
one.
can't hate on that deal.
That should be a good one there. So, okay, we got Joe. I don't think he's even talking about any EDBL options, but he's got some on his mind over there. So let's go see at the big screen there. What's up, Joe?
You got for me there, my guy. All right, beautiful stuff, man. All right, we will take a look at that momentarily. Good morning and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from Friday's session, guys. We're going to kick things off here with Intel. Where are we going to find a potential bottom within this specific underlying, guys? And that leads us directly to this $90 strike price that's going to be expiring at the end of the week here. So open interest sitting around 4,800 contracts, volume 8,400 contracts at that specific zone, open and closed on yesterday's session. Now we're sitting on a pretty wide spread here, right? For a name that's relatively liquid in options trading, a $30 spread, I wouldn't be surprised if that tightens up a little bit after the open. Also, considering we had a gap up here this morning, you will see some premium reduced from this specific contract. Now, as for our delta metric, guys, we're sitting around that 70% chance that it's going to expire out of the money. 40% or 39% chance, that we will expire in the money. Now, as for your gamma exposure, guys, relatively cool. Our at the money IV sitting with a slight uptick, 91% to the top side. Now, let's actually focus on the contract itself, guys. Relatively choppy right out of the gate here, but then once the momentum really started to pick up, you can see the appreciation within this specific contract. All right, guys. So you're getting an 80 return. So from from the lower end of this range here, around $1.88 all the way up to $3.57. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at Apple. Where is the ceiling on this name? I don't think there is one just yet, Sharif. I do believe that this name is going to continue to move higher. Open interest, relatively cool, guys. 5,200 contracts at this $340 strike price with 13,200 open and closed on Friday session. Now, $15 spread here on this name. Once again, we are going to be expiring at the end of the week. Now, as for the delta exposure, guys, sitting around $35, and then also our gamma exposure sitting at $2 there. At the money IV, 38% there, guys, so not too bad whatsoever. Moving forward, this is something that we often talk about, just the amount of volume and liquidity needed, or capital, in order to move this underlying asset. You see some choppiness, but Friday we clearly had a buy program, and that was most definitely reflected within the options contract itself, guys. So 160%, that's not something we typically see within AAPL. So some nice returns there, guys, on to both of those underlying assets. One put contract with Intel, see if this $90 floor can hold, and then also no potential ceiling just yet for AAPL, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Hopefully a temporary bottom is made on Intel for Intel's sake after those earnings. But it's only one day. It's only a day, and we have seen underneath here for sure. So this was the most harsh in terms of the sell-off, just because of how strong it was after market. Like, you can look at what happened to Tesla, be like, oh, wow, okay, Tesla moved down more day one, it continued day two, but at least it didn't trick anybody. Intel just flat out did the Uno reverse card on you, on everybody. Like, it did that big, almost 14% move after market, gap down, and then sold the entire day. Like, there wasn't even it didn't really try to bounce. There was a little bit of action, like right off the open. there was a little bit of a bounce there at like 98 for like a buck, and then it just fell apart. And then it tried to hold 96 a few times, and then that fell apart. So on day 2 here, really just got to think about, well, for now, the trend is still to that downside. Like that 9,900 level that was looking at support before, to me, that turns into like a resistance zone until you can prove otherwise. So yeah, Intel was the one that bamboozled everybody. And it really just came down to a simple, well, whether or not it did, everyone's talking about CapEx. And they basically said our CapEx is going up a significant amount without giving any numbers to it. At least everybody else is telling you, hey, 10%, 20%, or in Google's case, it wasn't even that much growth. In this case, they were very vague about it, and the market's not too happy with more spending. So they wanted a little bit of certainty, and I guess they got punished for that over there with Intel.
Okay, yeah, no, I was gonna say I like the Intel talk there too because I don't trust it, but the one name, because we lost money, that was like the one stock that we lost there on Friday. Yeah, blame Jim Cramer for Intel. Yeah, he didn't like Intel. You're right about that one. Wanted to buy it on any dips. I still think Intel's a great buy down here. Honestly, I really do like it. If you're gonna play something sort of momentum based, I mean, Apple acted as if Intel was not even a thing there because it's not for them on Friday. And Microsoft not leading the way. It was Apple there on Friday. I mean, what a 320 all the way up to 334. I was going to look at what all-time highs. I think was 334.99. Just made recently right into there. So it looks like we're going to open up at all-time highs here for Apple, if not higher than that. If we get above 335, you're at a brand new all-time high for Apple. So looks like we've wicked a little bit higher possibly there, but I'm looking for either a break long right off the open in Apple here today, or I just wrote down, depending on what this day happens, I'm about to push out super chat, the sticky note soon. But yeah, 331, 332, this little area right here for dip buys there in Apple. So this is what I'm looking for, just playing through right now the momentum here for Apple and seeing if we can catch along. Even though it's not up as much as the market, I still like this play. Not as much CapEx expected. Earnings coming on Thursday there for Apple. Edible Garden took out $10 or came close enough to doing that right there just 2 seconds ago, and it faded back off at 10. I see Luis was in the chat saying that Edible was a little too much on the pay for short side. So I'm actually going to do this right here and just show you guys what this is costing here. EDBL.NQ. I'm going to show you how much it's going to be for 100 shares. We'll say submit here and we'll just show you. Oh, it's not. Oh, it is NQ. Sorry. I put dash NQ. So hold on. There it is right now. $8 right now for EDBL. And on our pay for short system, you're going to see 100%. 30. There it is right there. Yeah, $30 right now for that. So it's $30 right now for a 100 shares. So yeah, I don't think it's unbelievable because you need to make 30 cents. So, you know, if you're going to, you know, you take 1,000 shares or 500 shares, you know, it's a little expensive. So if you're looking for one key trade, maybe it's there right now, but you can keep checking your broker. We'll keep checking ours as well. But 30 cents right there. I saw Luis already, and the reason why I brought this up is because he had mentioned that it was maybe too expensive. I don't generally look at this for a short play, but if you were, then yeah, that's how much it would cost. I'd rather wait for some longs. I mean, it's bounced off 6 to 650 here a couple times. We just got a nice play into 10. I mean, not to say that the short's not a great play. It's just right now you got to pay for it. And 30 cents, we just made that back, right? When we started talking about it, it was at $8.50. Now you're at $8. But that's, you know, that's not a horrible idea. You take your 100 shares, you make your 30 cents, and then you're sort of starting to, you know, make back everything that you paid. But if you don't get out, it comes right back up. And here it goes again, $8.50 on a deal with Walmart here. Edible Gardens there. I think it was southeastern states, or I'm not sure what part, but it wasn't a national deal for Walmart, but still a nice move there for EDBL with 600,000 share float.
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic, okay. And there it was right there, boom. So it's already reverse split. So that's why we're starting to go hard right here. This might have even been another reverse split.
It's done 4.
Okay, yeah. So there was also, so that's why, man. And reverse splits mean that you're taking the shares and you're lowering the float so that you can get above $1. Right, and the NASDAQ sends out these warnings, and we just had it last week, and I don't know, they've changed it over. Like before this move, what was EDBL? And look, 5 million is so small, right? That's the market cap that they need to be. This was only 2 million right there before this move today, was 2 million market cap on EDBL. And I don't know if that's including real time or not, but right in here, 2 million there for market cap. So yeah, these guys would be delisted in 30 days if you go with the old stats. Durable goods is just out. Let's go back over to Adara and find out what just happened there. Market mover, not really, but we'll go get the numbers from Adara.
Your biggest number of the day here just came out. Durable goods, 0.3%. That's going to be below the forecast of 1.8%, but above the prior print of negative 4.5%. Core durable goods here, 0.6% here, also below the forecast of 0.8%. It's actually also below the prior print here of 1.4%. SPY, as Sean mentioned, not a huge market moving number, not moving too much on this. While we're up here, Sharif, though, let's talk about Broadcom.
Yeah.
Because AVGO did have this deal here with Samsung. Pretty good look for Broadcom this morning.
Yeah, apparently it's worth $200 billion until the end of this decade through 2030. It expands the cooperation on many different segments of the semis. We're talking about memory chips, contract manufacturers, so foundry service essentially, and advanced packaging, which is becoming an ever more pressing issue in chip design. Look, it's going to be for the 2 nanometer process, but we've seen this already. These fabless design kind of chip designers are really tying the knot with the actual fabs themselves because, well, they can't control the supply chain. But it's just not Broadcom that Samsung's in bed with here, Dara. The chip division head, Yoon Young Hyun, he noted that they are in active discussions with Jensen Huang and Nvidia, specifically on HBM4E and HBM5 memory products as that glut of inventory, that supply chain problem still continues to press.
Yeah, AVGO and again, Samsung also certainly in focus today. Are you looking at AVGO or some of these other related chip plays, Sean and Neil?
Chips, yes. Broadcom, maybe not Broadcom specifically, but obviously we already talked a little bit about Intel, and we'll get into some of the memory names in particular. It was a really good, successful IPO, let's just say, with a Chinese memory name, which has a good market share. But Broadcom turned into a bit of relative value over this last little, sideways malaise that it's been in for a while. It just hasn't been doing a heck of a lot. $360 to $400 effectively for the greater part of a couple of months here on Broadcom, at least a month and a half. And you can see what's happening at the 50 period. It's just riding underneath the 50 period moving average. So I think it needs to break out that 50 period. And once that happens, then you can start thinking about anything but just accumulation. You can buy the dips inside the range, but it's not moving much. So if it's not gonna break out of this range, you either wait for the lows at 370, or you're looking for this to take out that 400, close above the 50 period, and then start to go. So yeah, it's great to see it in the teens in terms of value. Obviously, earnings season can change that, but provided that they beat, they're going to stay within that range. And yeah, it's a good value, just not much of a day trade, unfortunately. It doesn't really seem to want to move in here. Sideways, sideways, sideways.
I have written down, well, actually, I don't have written down it today, but I still like we're talking about a lot of basic trade ideas here because there's some sideways action again in Nvidia. So I don't know if it's going to be exciting to trade this or not today, but I still like dip buys in Nvidia. It looks like the low is 205. We'll sit there and see if that happens again. But I don't think we want to sleep on it, Dara. You asked about the chip names, and I just, this is day 2 play for Intel, which got absolutely crushed there on Friday. We started off with such a huge report where we thought it was, exactly what the doctor ordered for Intel. It had been hit. It had come right back into $100. They were expecting a 13% move. It was up 14% there. Then all of a sudden the call happened and they started asking questions about CapEx. And then there was supposed to be some sort of a meaningful amount, but we're not even really sure how much that is. And then it just got hit to the downside. So I don't really know. I actually feeling pretty red here on Intel. I know there's some ideas there. People tweeted at me, long on Intel and things like that. But I'm actually looking for a break lower down underneath this $92 until we're finally settled here for INTC and we figure out where the buyers are going to come in. I just think it's, we're not getting a pop-up in Google until day 3 here, it looks like. We'll see if Intel has that same love over the next couple of days. But yeah, $92 right down into there is something to look at for Intel. I actually think it's a smash lower Once we broke that pre-market shelf rate there of $102 or whatever it was there on Friday, there was no coming back from it. I don't think we're going to have a dramatic move like this here today, especially with the NASDAQ holding up. But yeah, Intel down there does not look very healthy of a spot to start picking up some of that. And then we can go back over and we'll talk more about DRAM. We got Michael coming up in just a second here, but what's leading the market today, right? I mean, it's a lot of these names. So you have the NASDAQ right now only down up 1.3%, but heading down, and DRAM up 3.5%. So it's some of these names. SK Hynix is up pretty nicely here today, as well as Micron and SanDisk and all them. But we know how easy those names are to fade once the market gets open, and then they find a base and start to rip back up again. But it's definitely not Intel, Nvidia, and all that are helping this market right here. So chip names going to be in play. I still think we want to wait for the CapEx numbers to come from this week. I mean, we've got Microsoft, we've got Meta, two big names that are going to throw hopefully some cold water. I guess not cold water on the rally. The rally has been sort of chilled out for a little bit, but how about remain heated if we can do that there? We'll have to watch out for DRAM this week with more CapEx talk coming just around the corner. And yeah, unfortunately, name like Nvidia here this morning just resuming its sideways sort of malaise again there. And mentioned Broadcom stuck within that $40 range. It's something pretty similar here with Nvidia. So all right, let's go find out. Yeah, let's go find out what Michael's up to here. Always talking about different sectors and whatnot. It's Michael Noss back over with Adara.
Indeed it is. Very happy to welcome, as we do every Monday and Friday morning around this time, Mr. Michael Noss, CMT Stats Edge, over here to talk about a topic of his choosing with us. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing today?
Good morning. How's it going? Finally, something to talk about that's not AI and technology. I was excited to find this, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. I think a lot of our viewers are going to feel the same way. Cocoa in focus. So let's talk about this commodities run, and I understand some comparisons to past commodities runs as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, the reason that this is exciting is I think we're all probably invested in tech. We probably all have some semiconductor exposure at this point. And we got to look elsewhere for opportunities. The closest thing to the holy grail of trading and investing is as many uncorrelated return streams, any uncorrelated ideas as possible. And what can be completely opposite from an SK Hynix, but a Coca chart. And this is one of the huge beauties of technical analysis, is that you can see things like this that just kind of pop off the screen, right? So this is the run currently that we've seen from kind of the February low. We've gone from 2,798. I don't know if that's an ounce or a bushel. I don't know how these things are measured, but I've got a stock idea here for people who aren't interested in futures that we'll talk about at the end. But huge, 100% pop basically since February. And that's great because uncorrelated to everything else that seems to be ripping, right? No one can argue that this has anything to do with AI at all, but very interesting, nice pop. For a reason why, for those who are interested, I think there's some sort of drought in Africa or some sort of adverse weather that is causing the run up in price. So again, as uncorrelated as possible. But what really stood out when I was going through this chart is just the next chart. And this is the chart of last year, 2023, and this year. And you can see it had a huge advance last year. So I just wanted to compare what happened last time in this 2023 all the way to 2025, and then that happened now, and roughly 500% gain last time, which just shows that these commodities can really trend when they get going. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen next, but it's just really interesting to look at that we're getting a potential trend that might look like this one. So I thought I would overlay the two charts. So the next chart is just going to show the orange line is that 2023 all the way to 2024, 2025 advance, which was 460% and lasted over a year. And so far, we're up about 100%, and we're 100 days in. So we have potentially, if we're going to mirror this at all, a long way to go and a long time to get there. So that, to me, and the reason I left in all of this kind of junk at the side of the chart, you can see how volatile it got from being up 400% to only up 250% and back and forth. So huge kind of volatile swings in this one. But it just becomes an area that when you see that it has a prior runner and you see that it might be setting up now, like if you just look at that little chart, it's kind of looking like a bull flag could be happening here, that that, okay, there at least is some history of this thing running. So if this is going to continue, then potentially, I can take a look to say, hey, it's in trend. It's the same. A lot of people do this with like small cap stocks. They'll look at something and say, oh, this one has a prior propensity of running. This stock, I can see on the chart, it's had many huge moves in the past, and now it's starting to move now. So it kind of adds a little bit of confidence to potentially take a trade. However, this last chart I just wanted to show is kind of what happens when everything kind of comes to an end here. So again, the last one is in orange there. It did run 460%, huge move up, but then when it round tripped, it lost 80% of that advance. And now we've got another 187% that it could go if you're kind of compounding that out. But just note that an 80% drop, not like it happened overnight. It took years to kind of come back down. But when it comes to these commodities, they have this propensity just to really, really run and then completely not all fall apart, but come huge drawbacks that they don't really recover from for a long period of time, and they kind of chop people out for a while. So just think of what's happening with gold and silver right now. They had huge runs a couple years back, and then silver had that one day that it just completely kind of collapsed and fell apart, and then since then it's done pretty much nothing except chopped around inside of a range. So could be the same with this one, but it's definitely something that I'm going to focus on. The last one is just kind of a data sheet just to kind of summarize everything I talked about there. But the main point is that if you're looking for a place to look outside, you can check this out. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say is I didn't get a chance to include it, but I overlaid the Coca chart with Hershey's. And as you might expect, there's a pretty good inverse correlation there. So if Coca is going to continue to rip, well, last time it did, Hershey's, the stock, fell pretty dramatically because that's going to be their input cost. So if their input cost increases, their margins decrease, so therefore they'll make less money. So if you want to kind of play this in the stock market, I couldn't find a really good Coca ETF that was liquid. But if you want to take the other side of that bet and you think that Coca is going to continue up, maybe you take a look at Hershey's to the short side.
I'm happy you mentioned Hershey's because right away when you started talking cocoa, some people in our chat were saying, oh, short Hershey's. So yeah, great mention there, and I think a really good tie-in. I have a couple questions. There's also one thing I found interesting here too, which is that you start getting this run-up here in cocoa around the same time that we had that market pullback with the U.S.-Iran conflict. So interesting that obviously this is not all related, but there always, I guess, there's a bull market somewhere or somewhere, as people say, right? So I think that's an interesting look.
Well, yeah, and it's a money flow thing. Yeah. As there's a lot of people like us that are large investors and large traders, and they're hunting for momentum. A lot of strategies out there, hedge funds, large institutions, and they're hunting. So I've noticed from time to time that when, say, large cap equities are moving, then you don't get much of craziness in that really small or micro cap space and vice versa. And I think a lot of this could just be the same thing, is maybe people have money sitting around and they're looking for something to do with it. And then just like me, they're out there hunting for something that's just not AI related and everything because they have exposure there. And then they see coca starting to move and they hear this story about adverse weather conditions in Africa for growing coca. And they just, great, this is a place that I can potentially put money in. I have a pretty solid risk reward plan. If you look at this one, depending on your time frame, you can see a little bull flag there at the top. So yeah, some of it might just be you've got to, if you are a large institutional investor, you got to put money somewhere. And if the only thing that's kind of is interesting right now is coca, then you just get, maybe this goes a little bit further than might be necessary because you have all these momentum traders getting behind it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And one other thing too that I thought was interesting that I wanted to get, I guess, your thoughts on or ask you about here. So, as you said, so far this run up in cocoa has been a lot faster than what we saw for the prior run up. So I guess with that in mind, do you think A, maybe we reach this top a little bit faster, and B, potentially what technical, or even in this case, I guess, fundamental signals would you be looking for, would other traders be looking for to kind of signal, okay, this is the end of this version of this rally, if that makes sense?
Yeah, the best example or the best thing that I've looked at when it comes to commodities, because of their ability to trend like way further than people think. Again, think silver just went crazy. It's just some sort of trailing stop. So pick a moving average that you like, an ATR-based trailing stop, whatever it is, and kind of take your hands off the wheel and let it go. Because like with silver, I don't think a lot of people saw that huge ramp up. And even if you had waited for the day that it kind of completely fell apart there, and that's where you're out, you still would have been better off than kind of selling on the way up. And this is a lesson that I took because I was here hammering the table on the gold breakout back in the day, and I didn't get nearly as much as I should have on it because as it moved higher, I was kind of selling bits out on the way up. So I would just, for me, if I end up getting in this trade, I'm going to pick a 20 period moving average or a 50. I'll just, whatever looks better on the chart, and I'll say, give me a close below that, and I'm gone, and try to stay away from it the best I can.
More insightful info from Michael Noss, CMT over at Stats Edge. Thank you very much, Michael. You guys can see Michael every Monday and Friday around 8:30 a.m. right here on Trader TV Live. Thanks again. Have a good one.
Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you there, Michael. Don't like the notion of, you don't want cocoa prices going up, man. We need our chocolate cheap. Cheap. Gonna have less of it. Come on now, can't do that. But I like the. I mean, it looks like people are getting ahead of the Hershey's short selling. If you look at it, it has been downward trending for a while.
Somebody
in the chat, that was like the first place that people.
There was
people
Raider
going,
Trader. Somebody really liked Hershey's a while ago.
Was it?
Yeah, it was somebody because for the value, just because it was something different.
I mean, I like Hershey's for other reasons.
That was a while ago, but yeah, making sure that there's other things to talk about. I like what Michael talked about there. And we actually asked that to Steve Talman the same way before. Yeah. It's like when stocks are moving higher, where exactly do you decide to get out? You know, and he just mentioned there 50 period. That's the same thing that we heard from Steve as well, right? Is that try to find out a good level to get in and out of something on.
I actually like Steve had a quote. He said, "I don't want to pretend that I'm smarter than the major moving averages."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just look at the technicals and you just figure it out. And if that's what you're going with, that's what you're going with, right? So, all right, let's go back over now to Joe at the screen, and we're going to find out possibly something else to trade here with upgrades and downgrades.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions from this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades, guys, as we typically do. First on the list here, we have Warner Brothers Discovery. Seaport Global downgrading them. You can see we're negative about a little more than 0.6%. We're going from buy to neutral with no specific target there, guys. And then Checkpoint Technologies here, overweight to neutral, you're down 1%. JP Morgan giving them that downgrade, no specific price target there. Now Stellantis going from an overweight to an underweight, so a double downgrade here, guys. Negative 1.4% with a $4 price target by Piper Sandler. And then we also have Core Scientific, 1% to the south side here, guys, going from an outperform to a market perform, and a $19 price target. That is down from $21. All right, guys, let's take a look at some more positive things here today. Rocket Labs getting the nod and the approval this morning. We're up over 4%, going from a neutral way to an outperform and a $107 price target. Now, some of these manufacturers, auto manufacturers, Ford, Randy, at the second on the list here, I should say, not at the top, up 1%, going from a hold to a buy, and a price target increase to $17.50. That is up from $14.75 at Jefferies. Now, GM, General Motors, also getting the approval. Going from a hold to a buy here, guys, we're up 1.8%, and the price target increased to $99. That's up from $90. Rivian also getting the nod as well. You're up 2.4% this morning, going from a neutral weight to an overweight with a $20 price target. That is up from $18 from Piper Sandler. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Yeah, very auto-themed upgrade board after, last week, maybe not even the best. It wasn't the best for Rivian, at least. Like, they got smoked Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It was almost like the charts were identical. It was like fall, and then open at the same price you closed, and then drop, and then open at the same price you closed, and then a hard drop. Like, that's about as distinct as it gets. Like, you don't really see that very often. You could say, even if you wanted to say that some of that was sympathy to Tesla, I don't even think you can make that argument because it was so uniform over there with Rivian. So, like, it's almost like, they just wait for it to get down a little bit, and you're gonna try and pop that upgrade on. At least the case with General Motors can be made that you have a much better looking. It's doing something. It's been in an upward trend, and General Motors here has a chance to actually break out of a we can call long bull flag, let's just say, for the entirety of the year. Like, you started in January with a high of 87, 88, and we're right back retesting that here in July. So half a year, and this has just been consolidating off the top for a bit of a breakout. So this one, at least I can see what you're getting at. Like, GM's also potentially doing some conversions for defense, which would maybe allow them to get a couple of government contracts in there. So there's some good things happening for GM. But yeah, that Rivian's a weird one, man. That was a lot of selling in the last 3 days. But GM, that has a chance to break out this week. Probably not today. Upgrades don't really give it. It's not giving it any extra volume today. So it's not as if you're going to get any chance on higher volume pre-market or RVol to get a breakout, which is something you want to look for.
Yeah, Rivian coming on Thursday, so definitely worth a look there to see what's happening today. A nice little rebound day if you think it's going to be a big earnings recall. I think it is for Rivian, right? There are 2 models now out. I think it's selling quite well there in the States. You guys let us know in the chat if you guys do have an R2 and how that's going. And I think that could spark rally there in the name, just more expectations, hopefully better margins for them. And, wait to see what the roundup looks like on the R2 reservations. That's going to come on Thursday. So we'll have a good look there. I wrote down SpaceX as a short. We've been falling since. Obviously, this is 8 o'clock. We came on air. It was 1:15. You're just bouncing off 1:13 right here. So I always think about SpaceX when I think about Tesla. I mean, we just went through. I said to Neil, I was like, all those upgrades other than Rocket Lab, they were all, car-based there. And I don't know what's going on with that. But nice move higher there for Tesla, back up again. Just trying to find its base. Did not have a good report there with Google. And yeah, just wondering if 360 was that zone where we lost it. I don't know if we really want to get too interested in it again until it retakes that 360. If you're dip buying, you'll see the machines, get back on. So once Tesla starts to go, you'll really see it. Like when it drops, it falls and it can't find a base. But when it gets going, it does have a good opportunity to rip up a couple dollars. So the first area to look at is this, pre-market high break of 317. If we take that out, then you can use this 315 as your low. So I think $2 worth of risk right here if you're thinking long on Tesla, definitely worth it. It's just, I don't know yet. Like the market, it's underneath VWAP. Still looks like a short to me here. But, I'd like to see us break back down below before we really start thinking short. So for right now, not too many excitement there on the upgrades and downgrades. I always go back to the bank names and just say, like, this continuously has a bid under it since earnings. So, you had a little bit of a dip down, but this is really starting to take off now. JP Morgan and the bank sector really appreciating higher here as we get into the week again. And we don't even have anything to worry about with banks. It's already through. We get a 30% chance of a rate hike. That's going to be built in here, and, the market's still appreciating the bank earnings. So, as we sit here and wonder about Intel and Tesla and Rivian coming out, we already know that there's a lot of love here for the financials, and which makes me a little worried because SoFi's not moving, and they're coming out this week as well. I'm going to find out what day is it. Is it Wednesday? There for SoFi. Yeah, Wednesday, July 29th before market open. So you only have 2 more days of trading for SoFi before they report, and they're down here. So wondering about this potentially becoming some sort of a bid before earnings, but breaking through $16, $17 right there looks like a good long trade for SoFi. But all right, oil is something that we'll talk about. We do have our watch list coming out. It's already out, but check it out. We're going to be talking about it very soon. Not much going on the imbalance locator today. Just to give you guys an idea, USO could be on here if it was any interesting because it's on an Amex stock. Still down, 6%? Yeah, so still down 6% there. Don't see USO on here. A little bit of love there. CRCL for the short. So, we'll see if that's going to work out for us today. Trading DRAM and CRCL and whatnot, and some of those names, Archer. There's really nothing else. Joby's here as a small buy down at $7. So right now, there's not much going on in the imbalance locator as we look to start a Monday. In the green, nice positive side so far there as the NASDAQ trying to battle back ahead of big cap earnings week. That is for sure. It's like something like 15% of the S&P 500 is this week or something. So it's going to be a big one there coming.
And a lot of that's on Wednesday.
Yeah, Dara actually put this out. Yeah, going to TTV research, there's lots. Even though Dara's not here, never fear.
Never stop.
There are many, many posts that were posted. Exactly. There's even an Eli Lilly post. Okay, I like that one. And of course, here it is. This is what we're looking for right here. So yeah, the big days coming here. Meta coming with Alphabet. Wait a minute, we already got this one. This is
Sean, if you go one post up, it's just Meg 7's earnings preview as well, if you'd like. So if you just go.
That's what I was. Oh, right into here. Okay. So you have Meta, Microsoft. Sorry, that was Microsoft, not Google, obviously. Here's the Mag 7 that we're looking for this week. So it's a big one, man. July 29th, July 30th, all coming early. So stay with us, and we'll try to cover as many of these names, obviously, as they start popping through. No, but this is the one I was looking for here. I looked at that and said Google, and I was like, we already had it. That's Microsoft, of course. But yeah, what a big day Wednesday is going to be, of course. And then, just big market caps all week. Even Tuesday here, Visa and Ford, we just had the upgrades there on all those names. So we'll see if that
tomorrow morning. PayPal, they had that they got that take private deal, which they put the floor on the stock.
Coca-Cola coming. I mean,
there's a lot to watch.
Good consumer packaging here. There's SoFi on Wednesday pre-market as well. Vertiv coming, so we'll see a little bit about the data centers as well coming through there.
Did I just see you gloss over Tuesday afternoon?
Where is it? Bloom? Oh, Tilray? Yeah, Tilray's not.
No, okay. Well, Randy's favorite company in the entire world reports Tuesday after market. Tuesday after market.
Oh, Ford. Yeah, and then there's Exxon there. I was thinking that's one of Randy's favorite names. So that's coming on Friday. So, and then big day on Thursday. Wow, it's all over the place. We'll see if the financial market's healthy as well on the private side of that. Blue Owl coming there on Thursday. So yeah, big earnings week. Go find this. I'll put this up into the chat right here. You guys can go have a quick little look and see what you think about earnings this week. It's now in our chat there on YouTube. And a big shout out to everybody that's with us again here every single day, man. It's a big shout out to our YouTube fans, our TikTok, everybody that's out there, all of the traders that are there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the like and the subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And there it is. What's up, Bravely there? Sean, he's talking about me there. Yeah, my notes are up on X. They'll be up also very, very soon on Instagram as well. So go check that out as we get that posted up shortly. But thanks for looking out so far. Let's go back over the desk. It's almost rundown time.
Yeah, almost rundown time. Ahead of that rundown, I do want to talk a little bit of crypto, because crypto, we don't have like a massive move in Bitcoin itself, but you do have here CRCL, as we mentioned here, trying to get some crypto-related patents, or blockchain-related patents rather, from IBM. That deal was announced this morning. You did get a little bit of an uptick in CRCL. You also had MSTR. Now apparently it's been a straight month of strategy not buying any crypto. Now what they are doing though is apparently selling some stock through certain deals. So interesting look there for MSFT. And to get more specific with it, MSTR. We just talked about MSFT. MSTR is specifically raising $545.5 million by selling 5.4 million shares through its ATM program last week. And again, did not buy any Bitcoin. They still hold 843,775 Bitcoin, but they're not selling any Bitcoin. So I guess maybe a little bit of a silver lining here for MSTR. Are you guys looking at MSTR, CRCL, or any other crypto plays this morning? With just a couple minutes to go until our rundown.
Circle, eh?
Well, Circle.
What was that story with Circle?
Circle's kind of, I don't know. I want to say that this stock has been accumulating, but I usually like to save accumulation for things that we like. No, I'm just sort of kidding out there. But it has been accumulating at this level in the 60s. And it's showing you a pretty decent bottom. Like it does look like there's your wipeout bottom on Friday in front of support for a higher low, and you can make another bit of a jaunt into the upside. I just wish I could get aboard. I wish I could get aboard the train and be a little bit more bullish on the space. I look over at IBIT, and what I'm thinking about is, hey, look at the top that we put in last week, and that seems like it's still the same resistance. $38 on IBIT, 67 change in Bitcoin, and every time we go up there, we've sold a couple times now, and so it just feels like it's still a short up there for me on IBIT. So that's kind of what I'm leaning to. Circle's chart looks pretty solid. It looks like it could be along from here, but if Bitcoin or crypto goes up, it's at a point where I'm looking to short that top in front of 67.5, at least for the day trade. Now, what's the headline here? Amazon Leo will partner with mobile network operators to extend mobile connectivity services globally with satellite deployment beginning in 2028.
All right, so we can have a quick look. I have IBIT.
Yeah, it's not really moving.
I have IBIT written down here. It's the NASDAQ name, of course. I have it written down as a 3650 long here. Is that what actually I put on my sticky note anyways. I like it today. You know, you're above, you're holding that 65. We got to hold it though, right? And that's what I wrote down here. Regardless of the price, I'd like to see us, obviously if we're going to get to 36.50, it's going to break 65, but then I want to see it try to hold that, right? Come back into Friday's close is basically the levels that I'm looking at. I want to talk positively about the market. I think it can get going, but NASDAQ and IBIT necessarily haven't been matching with some of the performance that we've had in the NASDAQ with IBIT. I mean, NASDAQ's at all-time lows. IBIT's obviously chopped in half here. So I am not super worried. I mean, I don't want to fight if the market does turn red here, you know, red. I mean, that would be a big move. But if the market does start to turn down, I think Bitcoin can hold. So yeah, 36.50 or so is a level that I've written down here today, and that's something that I'm going to try to watch out for on IBIT. And of course, you know, MSTR, as the story is, there are different ETFs that are double, triple levered here in this space. Like I keep saying, if you like Bitcoin, I think you just get more oomph buying MicroStrategy or strategy down here. I mean, this is something that has also based out, gives you an out there at 80 bucks. I don't think you're going to come in one day and feel too beat up with MicroStrategy. You know, obviously if they completely change course here and start dumping many of their coins, that would also create a huge problem with Bitcoin itself. So I don't know. I think the only crypto to own really, in my opinion, is going to be BTC. So MSTR, I think you're just safer in the coin itself. But just for a get up here, you know, you just saw IBIT was up 1.5% or 1.24, MSTR up 2 and a bit. So, you know, if you do think that Bitcoin can rally off 65, probably a decent buy zone here. We haven't even broke below 90, you know, in, let's go, what day is this? This is for all month of July. We stayed above 90 on MSTR. So good possibility to get going a little higher here if you use 90 as your bouncing spot, and maybe that could even be your out. So I liked MicroStrategy here, to get going a little bit more to the north side. But yeah, it's a little look at crypto. I know Sharif likes, well, not likes, but is holding on to some BMNR and Ethereum there. And again, you know, teach their own. I think that all, you know, high tide raises all ships. So if Bitcoin can get going, Ethereum can get going. I don't know about some of those altcoins, but at the end of the day, you know, there's two big ones and they both got to start to work, I think, for this environment to be something. Circle underneath at $60 IPO would be something that's, you know, a little bit of a worry. So we'll have to wait to see what Circle's doing. That's held it pretty good here as well, as Neil said about that accumulation. So, you know, good little level there, same kind of way. Circle breaks 60, I think you can dump. MSCR breaks 90. Either way, if there's some positive talk in crypto, both these names probably mature up quite nicely. So you can do your own research and see if you like crypto down here. And if you do, those are two good names. But okay, let's go.
Past 9 o'clock.
Yeah, let's go. What was that, sorry?
Past 9 o'clock.
Oh, past 9 o'clock, yeah. 9:02, good. Well, we're not on any sort of a schedule here, but we're going to go back over. Glad to have Adara back. How was the weekend, Adara?
It was pretty good, nothing too crazy. As you can see, my throat a little rough. Talked to a lot of people, saw a lot of people, packed a lot of excitement into 4 days, but was happy to be there. Lots of mosquitoes. Very happy to be back here, though, where there are notably less mosquitoes and lots of stories to cover in the market. Let's start with the futures.
739, guys, where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're up 0.87 right now, and we're below that 740 area as a closing print, but you'll see the market started pretty well today. 745 and a third is where we're trading right now. So we're just going to look at that 740 area again as support. You know, we're barely closing below it, and you zoom in here, you'll see a lot of bottoming tail candles on the 4 hour through that 740 area. There's a reason for that. It's been a staunchy area of support for the last little while. So we're above 745. Otherwise, I'd say 745 are level 1, but we're going to look at 750 as R1.
Time to look at our watch list. If you're looking for earnings, potentially that are going to be on watch either before or after the bell, if you're looking for any things that made big moves, either post-market or pre-market, if you're looking for some economic data events to look for in the day, this Trader TV watch list is all you need. It is free. Just hit that link in the description or type the URL you just saw on your screen to sign up. We're going to get right into that watch list with the Meg 7 earnings. But quickly, I want to mention this story from The Information, which is reporting that China is now mass producing homegrown DUV chip-making tools, which would be an advance for its local chip industry. Keep an eye on ASML. Keep an eye on some other chip plays here as well. Thought I would mention this story as we talk about Meg 7 earnings. Now, as Sean and Neil mentioned, 4 of the Meg 7 They're going to be reporting this week on Wednesday and Thursday. Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. There's a lot to look forward to all these reports.
Yeah, so 3 of them you're going to be really focusing on CapEx, as they've been really kind of made to pay for spending a little bit too much. One of them doesn't spend all that much. That's Apple, of course, only about 2.5% of revenue being spent on CapEx. So that's going to be first and foremost for me. I want to see exactly what they're guiding for the rest of the full year 26, as well as what they're guiding for 27. Super important there, as we've seen the market make them pay for that. Cloud, of course, for the big 2 is going to be big. Of course, we're going to look for growth on Azure's cloud business, or sorry, AWS's cloud business. We're also going to be looking, of course, for Meta and commentary about expanding into the cloud business. A lot of overtures by Mark Zuckerberg with respect to that. But yeah, it should be an interesting bunch. We'll report on them when we get them.
Yeah, again, guys, Wednesday and Thursday, right after the bell for most of them, but Apple, as always, 4:30 p.m. on Thursday is when we're expecting that to be released. Which of these 4 are each of you, Neil and Sean, most excited to see?
Most excited to see? I don't know that I'm super excited. I don't know if excited is the right word. I would probably say I'm most interested in like Microsoft and Amazon, because I think what I think can happen is we had Alphabet, and everyone looked at their CapEx and for some reason wasn't like loving all the ridiculous growth that they had. And I think they're just going to look a heck of a lot better by comparison once we have Amazon and Microsoft's numbers. So I think that's the key thing for me this week. I think Apple, whatever they do, if they dip, it's probably going to be a buy the dip scenario. So I don't think it really matters in any regard. But I always like close prices more than open prices. So just kind of going back to a name that has reported instead of pre. And Alphabet had double barrel closes at the same area, like 319 to 320. So like it's shown you that it's got a level of support. It was a good report from Google. Like it's if you looked at the cloud growth, like it was 17 to 23. That's still fantastic, and the year over year was almost a double up. So everything about it looks good. I think it only is going to look better when it gets compared to Azure and AWS this week. At least that's my sense of it. So yeah, I think it's got a support level that's in there. As far as Apple goes, Apple was an absolute rocket ship. And it seems like when the market is at its strongest for tech and chip names, Apple's not there. And when we have those weekdays, Apple gets that bit of a jaunt. So that's one of the things that I'm going to keep in mind here. Like the days that Apple's rallying off of the open, it really does feel like you're looking for that chip short to confirm. So if you're I'm looking short pop on like an Intel and a SpaceX, and I feel if you're looking at that, you're already kind of implicitly then playing the other side of the trade. So Apple is that safe haven status right now for the Mag 7 names. I'd expect that to be able to continue unless for some shock they're suddenly doing like 5 times the CapEx, which of course they're not going to be. There's no chance we get that announcement on Thursday. So they'll remain the safe haven.
Yeah, for me, most excited would be for Apple. I'm really liking the way this chart is setting up, and we've talked about, it might be one of the better looking charts out there. Really bouncing hard off that 200 period moving average. So that was like a great move right there. Then we took out all-time highs. We made new all-time, like that's the thing. You take out all-time highs right there and you make brand new ones days after you take out its past. Then you come back in, you don't even drip down 5%, and then you rip back right again into all-time highs ahead of earnings. So we had that CXMT there, IPO'd in mainland China there, to a huge ovation. And now I think it's the largest market cap name there in mainland there, China. So CXMT, that's the name that Apple was thinking about partnering up with there for memory. So I really, I like the momentum. It's written down here on my note today to go long on Apple. We just got to find out where. So I'm going to be sitting at 331 to see if there is any love back at that print, but who knows. ASML getting hit here. I just heard a story about them in China. So there's given some back there on what was a good positive look for ASML early. It's another name that reported last week looking to drop below 1700. I think we're still a ways away from that, but that was a level that could be a bottom break there, going all the way back to early June, 1700 for ASML. And then I really like what Amazon's been doing as well. I mean, we like the retail side of it, that's for sure. I don't think Prime is really too much of a concern on the streaming angle of it, but Google came out with a good cloud number, so we'll see right here if Amazon can help itself and get back up to the upside there with some AWS talk. And I know they've been doing some work there on the automotive side of it with Zoox and also in the sky as well. So Amazon does have a few levers to be pulled there. But yeah, what a fall for them too, right? Like 280 down to 230, not a great move there for Amazon, down 20% from its highs. Yeah, I know. That's thank you so much there for Tisha. I mean, thanks for bringing this up again. We haven't talked about this since it actually started taking off early. We talked about what the short float was like there. It was only about 12%, but there was a float issue, that being 600,000 shares. Multiple times have we had Edible Garden here reverse split. So it looks like did one here. I think we just had one in July as well. And then today we get that deal with Walmart. So I think that's it's a nice catalyst, that's for sure. And I think this is something that could rally the stock into the day. So Tisha, I think you're right. A good hold there of $6. We'll see if it wants to keep that. That was, again, past levels that we've seen before. That would be 450 right there. But again, it's off the reverse split. So most of these names, were a lot higher and then they just get faded. So this looks like it's finally a decent story here for EDBL on distribution licensing deal there with Walmart for the Midwest. Whether or not that extends to nationally, I guess that's the idea here as well. If they like it, can they get that done? But it's looking like a $6 hold here for EDBL. So far, so good. This name could really blow up once the market opens because of halts. Like right now, it's not doing anything. We'll see if they try to run it. I'm assuming there's no options on this name, but EDBL right there, trying to take 750 and VWAP, then we see if we can fly. And thank you, Tisha, for the $10. We'll keep on talking about EDBL. We're always looking at halting names, right, as they start to open up. So
it's just the best volume. There's a bunch of other small cappers, but that one's certainly catching everybody's regard a little bit more. You know what also is in focus? You just mentioned successful IPO there in China in the memory space. Huge one. And let's just be real. Memory has been the way to go. It has been leading the markets. But can it lead today is the real question there, Sharif and Adara.
Yeah, let's talk here about some of these memory names. There was another story as well here with Nvidia and the SK group related to XK Hynix. We might get more into this later. As you know, there's an Nvidia story here on this board, but probably the biggest story for memory today is that CXMT IPO that happened over in China. Very well received. That would be actually an understatement.
Yeah, Shaanxin Memory Technologies is the name of the company. It is now China's #1 market cap domestically listed stock. It soared 466% on its first trading day. And some of that, the reason is very small float, kind of like what we've seen on this side of the border. Only 6.75% is being made available for public markets. The rest is kind of tied up by state-backed funds as well as strategic insiders. But it was a list of the who's who of Chinese companies, all of which were backing this. We're talking about NIO, Xiaomi, Cherry, Baba's Cloud. NIO actually cleaned up big here because they had an early stake in CXMT, 500% already on their first day. So look out for a one-line item of realized gains on their next report. But we also know this company is getting the attention or capturing the attention of American tech, namely Apple, who sought specific permissions from the Trump administration that they'd be able to allow them to buy memory from CXMT because the other chip suppliers were all 4 or 5 times selling at 4 or 5 times what they were selling last year. Of course, now we know CXMT is on the prohibited list from doing business with defense names. Anybody doing business with a Pentagon can't do business with CXMT. That doesn't, though, give it a blanket ban. So private American companies still able to do business with them. What Apple was looking for specifically, though, was guarantees from the Trump administration that if they were to go ahead, make a big purchase, the Trump administration would come back later and then, prohibit purchases from them. So this has been a very sensitive political issue, Adara, because we know a lot of these circuit boards can be pre-programmed and they can definitely track data, and privacy issues are at the fore here.
We've already had some U.S. politicians flagging potential concerns here, so this whole aspect with Apple and CXMT remains on watch. But in the meantime, are you guys looking to trade any memory names today?
We've been having DRAM on the line, obviously, and this is a company that is not going to be in this ETF probably not a shock to anybody. But the sentiment around it and how it's received, I think is still important. Now, remember, like any other relatively large IPO, and these guys have almost 8% of the overall market, so this is not a small deal. That exit liquidity aspect or the cycle tops start to come into play when you start thinking about these kind of things. And I just look over at last week for DRAM, and man, was there a lot of, I'd say, accumulation in the wrong way. It was just a brick wall that happened at 59 bucks on DRAM. And whether you're breaking that down to consider, it'll probably take way too long to load, but we're gonna do it anyways. SK Hynix up around a 1600 top, like it did a false breakout and then flushed heavy on Wednesday. And I'll maybe just look at Micron as well to finish the point and then get back to DRAM. You did Micron as well on Wednesday. It made that same kind of like a flush out top where it rejected a breakout level and then we pull back. So suffice to say, you've got a little bit of like both those names are putting in like a head and shoulders sort of look here today with Micron, that 990, 1000 area. With DRAM, it just sets up the prior low of 57 and then the 59 levels as well. So like, I get it, we're up today. You're up 4 points. This was a good and accepted IPO, but everything about this is telling you, hey, there's sellers up top here to continue this little bit of a fade fest where everyone's trying to put in the tops. Until that breaks out, you got to be patient. So it's a bit of a crazier pop and fade on DRAM, but we could easily see that level. I'm not writing off the fact that we can't get back into some of these highs and then turn into that sell.
We had a great weekend here. I saw my, here, I'll put it in the chat. You guys can go see it. I saw my nieces and nephews there. We went up to, almost up to North Bay there. And we had to pick my daughter and son up from their camp. And it was a hockey sort of camp. So they came to watch out. Oh, thanks, Sharif. Sharif already liked it there. So, yeah, thanks to my wife, put these two together there. Niece and nephew, the only two that I have. Yeah, she's 6 only.
Only 6?
And 3. Just turned 6 and 3. They both just started skating, so she got started a little late on that one. But there it is. Always trying to support the Maple Leafs, but we'll see if that gets good. And I'm only wearing, it's super cold in the arena, but it was, as you can see, these guys wearing shorts. We were outside.
They're chilling.
Yeah, they're chilling. They were not, they didn't want to go into the actual arena, but I was there watching some Gia action there. And she told me that there's not as many talented girls at that camp, so I don't know if she's going to be going back. But just it's a fun one anyway. She did water skiing, and my son got gold for water skiing, so he was really happy with that one. He's a big snowboarder there. Okay, first of all, this EDBL, I'm just taking out $8 right now, so okay, there it goes. It took view up at 750, and we just mentioned that with Tisha there. Taking that 750 out probably creates a long, and there it is, man. So that's a nice little one there. Shout out Hydration Nation as my stream deck is not on, but I'm going to do it once it gets going. Okay, SK Hynix was the name. I mean, Neil covered a lot of names there, obviously. SKHY. There it is right here. So another name, and here we go, Hydration Nation. Stay hydrated. Speaking of the devil, we need some Randy action over here to get some coffees going on. But SK Hynix up 4% and kind of not doing anything here. I think that this CMXT, this IPO, just sort of creates what Sharif was mentioning there. It solidifies the demand. I mean, we know the market likes these names. They come out, huge day one, up 500% there from its issue price. But the thing is that SK Hynix still, the name that is relatively new to our markets anyways. And we talked about the Kospi and what that means to South Korea and everything. But these guys are NVIDIA's #1 client, #1 big deals there with NVIDIA. If NVIDIA is going to win, I think SK Hynix wins as well. The daily chart kind of looks a little silly, but I like the fact that we're up here today, up 5%, up 4%, looking to hold 155. This is just a 2-minute chart, but if you go over here to SKHY, a 5-minute chart, you'll see we do have a little bit of consolidation here from Friday in that 158 to 159 area. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about dip buying. If we do get into that bottom right there is 158. So a little bid coming through. That's where your 200 period moving average is on a 5-minute chart. So haven't really studied like why that would be a spot to dip by, but I like this area right into here, 158. You may have to give it down a little bit, like that's 156. But if you start to buy between 158 to 156 there, I think it'll be okay. The only problem with the whole market that I see, it's 920 right now, we're about to get those imbalances in 5 minutes, is what I've already said about the NASDAQ. It couldn't take out VWAP up there, it couldn't take it out there, and now we're pushing the day's low, pre-market low. You know, if you have to go all the way back to, you know, real pre-market to find lows like that. So, you know, we're gonna come back in, watch out what happens here at this 8 o'clock spot, and if we take that, then yeah, maybe the NASDAQ is at risk of going red almost pretty quickly here. So I'm going to look at SK Hynix. It's an interesting name for me. One of the more recent ones to hit our market. SK Hynix 158 to 156. Dip by possibilities there as China ramping up their memory names and just giving a little, you know, punch to the face to show you that, hey, you know, it's not just the Microns and SanDisk and the Western Digitals of the world here. We've got a couple names, including SK Hynix in South Korea and that CMXT now in China. So you can always play all of that China love with FXI. We've been talking about this for a while. All right, we got a little bit of time to go here. 10 minutes left, 3 stories.
Very quickly before we go back to the desk, VTIX, this is Virtuix. Tesla acquires first Omni One enterprise system from Virtuix for its Optimus humanoid robot division. So VTIX is popping on that story just a couple of minutes ago. So another small capper in here for you, Sharif. And this one was a bit of a Tesla connection. Yeah, from robots to rockets. It's not just about SpaceX's launch. We got Rocket Lab with a contract, and then of course, SpaceX did finally have that successful launch.
We're going to talk some SpaceX here in the next story. I wanted to separate these because they are a little bit different, but let's start here with Rocket Lab, because it's a great look here for Rocket Lab. Space Force contract, of course, U.S. Space Force, valued at $266 million for RKLB. Apparently, this is their largest ever contract.
It is, Adira, but it's raising some eyebrows as to the cost efficiency. So let's talk a little bit about this. As she mentioned, $266 million, and it's for 12 base missions. So it's about $22 million per mission. So what's the typical cost per mission here? It's about $8 million. So this is almost triple what the average cost of sending an Electron rocket into space is. So a lot of eyebrows as to why the cost per launch is so high, and whether there's any money here allotted for redundancies. So that's number one. Number two, it kind of establishes their 4th launch complex. So they already have one in New Zealand. They have another one in Virginia. This one's going to be in Alaska, and it's going to be higher altitude. And the purpose of this is to make it easier to put these, satellites into low Earth orbit from a higher elevation. And last but not least, it's a multi-year compressed cadence target. So they're going to have to launch about 18 times, in about 24 months. That would put it on SpaceX's launch cadence. Obviously, the highest launch cadence belongs to them. So quite ambitious, a lot of money. Let's see if they can get it done.
Yeah, we'll talk about another company's launch in a minute, but in the meantime, RKLB contract, how do you guys feel about this stock?
It seems like they're selling the news right now. And really, everything about that, like you said, the higher costs, it just doesn't feel like this has the juice on this story yet. And I hate to be pessimistic, but there's been nothing convincing about any of the mute bounces that Rocket Lab has had recently. So you'd pull all the way back into like this March low, but even as we speak, like you just see it slide. It just broke the 66 level. But maybe it fills the gap, and you think it's not going to go red on this news. So maybe the 64 level can come into play. But this is one where I've been looking for more of like a breakout over 70. It's diddling in the middle. And if a new contract, this is the second time now it doesn't really catch much of a bid on one of those, you begin to wonder, is it ever going to? And we're going to talk SpaceX next, but I still like that one for fade. Rocket Lab needs to get back above the 70 level and prove that we're not just bouncing, getting to the first level of resistance, and continuing to drop. It's in a distinct downward trend here. So I don't really see this as breaking out of it, at least not yet. But at some point, they'll get tired of selling it, and this will get a little bit of a better wind. This also could be a name where on Wednesday, there's still that 1/3 chance, or at least that's what the market is telling you, of a rate hike. if we don't get that hike, this is the kind of name that could easily benefit from that. So yeah, even after post-Fed, that could be a decent catalyst for this to get a little bit of a bounce. Again, costs go higher, capital intensive, could be good if rates don't go up. I don't think they will, but right now the market's still saying there's a 1 in 3 chance. That puts them a little bit in the crosshairs.
Right, here's, I know Sharif has this as a short, which has been a great call. I mean, look at this NASA ETF, just absolutely getting pummeled right to the downside. So everything Neil said about Rocket Labs, maybe they can get going here. It doesn't look like the space is much loved right now. And can you tell where potentially SpaceX came through? I mean, it was right into here where we were all the way lower there. This is SpaceX Day, June 12th. Nice move higher there. And then since then, it's just been absolutely crushed. So I, take my sort of look from here. I have to ask whatever insert large language model here to find out what the holdings of NASA are, but I'm sure Rocket Lab's a decent percentage, and I don't really want to fight this trend quite yet. So I'll wait for the whole sector to sort of be recovered before we pick and choose winners. But yeah, I'd like to see us break above $24 on NASA ETF here, NASA, before we get going. And another name that I have written down here today as a short, it's going to be SpaceX. The imbalances just came out. We can have just a quick little look over here at them before we go back over to the desk. There was SpaceX was a buy. So there's a good one. SpaceX catching a little bit of a bid here. We've seen them have some nice actionable trades off of imbalances before. So nice move higher. We'll see if it gets as high for us to short this. We'll find out which price we like to short. Oh, IBIT with the sell too. So there goes Bitcoin getting lower through 65,000 there. Not that Bitcoin and IBIT are matching on the imbalances. Like this is just a market trade there. Bitcoin going to be a 24-hour market. So we'll see how that trades. And then PayPal, we said the best day for PayPal to sell. It might have been the day we got that report of Stripe hitting with them, but it's still staying up here. So PayPal's an interesting one. I think that buyout might eventually wind up happening with Advent and Stripe. I mean, it's been holding up pretty well. We have PayPal numbers this week as well. That should be exciting. All right, let's go find out the story with SpaceX and quickly Nvidia. And then we're 4 minutes until this market opens.
Yeah, we're going to go over the last 2 stories here on the watch list with, again, 4 minutes to go until the market opens. SPCX in focus, their 13th Starship launch finally went off seemingly without a hitch, or at least any major hitches, on Friday after the bell.
It was pretty good, Adara. It was pretty good. It was the first time they actually had a successful launch since IPOing. The big part here for me was, and what we talked about before the launch, was what the payload was. This was the test payload. It's version 3 of Starlink hardware. They successfully released 20 of these bad boys. They're going to test laser communication links, and then they planned incineration upon reentry. This was never designed to be a long-term thing. It was designed to be a test, and by all accounts, it was very successful. The ship survived peak heating. We're talking about Starship itself. It landed in the Indian Ocean. It fell on its side. There was some fire for whatever reason. I think people were saying that there are some fuel leak, but the Starship was fully intact and was good to go. The only problem, Adara, was the super heavy booster. It landed kind of hard. It didn't ignite all 13 Raptor engines that were supposed to ignite, so it was a hard landing back into the Gulf of Mexico, but otherwise it was pretty good.
And last but not least, before we send you guys off to the bell to Neil and Sean, let's talk about NVDA, because there are quite a few stories here with Nvidia. You've got the OpenAI $250 billion reported potential deal here. You've got Jensen Huang joining X and posting a whole bunch of stuff, including a white paper. You also have this $1 billion Naver investment, the SK Group deal. Which angle do you want to take?
I mean, you covered it all quite well, Adara. I mean, really the only thing that I've been noticing here is a trend are these fabless chip companies, AMD, NVIDIA, backstopping the lease terms for these frontier models. We saw it with AMD do it for Anthropic. We're seeing it now with NVIDIA doing it for OpenAI, so that these, there's 2 guarantors on the lease rather than 1. They seem to be getting better terms that way, Adara. The other deal here is, of course, that $500 billion deal with SK Hynix, and then Jensen, as I mentioned at the top of the show, making an X account for the first time, putting that little pseudo white paper that he has there about the open source, open weight kind of approach that the North American AI company should be taking, getting a lot of endorsements, to be fair, from tech CEOs, most of which have closed source models, ironically enough.
Yeah, SK Hynix, SpaceX and NVIDIA in focus as we head into the bell. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, thoughts are a few things are dumping right now. Intel just lost about $1 off the bid on the 928. The imbalances came out on NASDAQ and a couple of sell imbalances there. So for SpaceX, look, I love what I love what they do. It's really cool watching those launches. For all the it's overvalued and it's been a sell for a while, and I want to look pop and fade again. Resistance from last week is still resistance here. The last 2 days, it couldn't break much above 117, and that to 119 is a bit of a sell zone for myself there. But man, it's really cool to watch these launches. I think it's amazing what the company's done. But do something to tell me this trend is not intact anymore, SpaceX.
Here's a funny one for Blicky Spears. CapEx, SpaceX, his ex, sick of them all. So shout out to Blicky Spears. Yeah, I never had too many problems with that side of things there, but we're just gonna wait to see on SpaceX. I mean, for me, we've talked about it. It's gonna be a short for me today. I want to wait to see if we get going. I couldn't even find a level that I was really super interested in other than up here, 118. So that's what I wrote down. It's where we started on Friday. The bleed happened all afternoon and all morning and afternoon. We actually rebounded a little bit there. We'll have to watch out for some SpaceX. But we want to thank VinFast here with less than 10 seconds here. The global intelligent mobility company. Scan the QR code. Go check them out. VinFast over there. Another EV name. Changing the shape of global EV market. That's VinFast. We want to thank them for everything again. Okay, so here we go, man. Yeah, nice move up to 115 immediately there for SpaceX. We'll have a quick look to see what's going on over there. Ed, did you guys buy the dip? I bought the dip a little bit there with Google down there at 320. There goes Google. Nicely cooking right now as the upside is here for Google early. Anyways, 327. Looks like we nailed the NASDAQ move today. We said NASDAQ potentially going lower and breaking through some of that day's low. That just happened now as well. So there goes NASDAQ down to the downside. This is why we were a little bit concerned about catching some of these bids early, but it's Google was on top of my mind, and that one is ramping to the long side. But some names must be giving it up, but it's not Google. And if it's Apple, then I'm a buyer.
No, Apple's up.
Yeah, and Apple just took out, there it is, man, awesome. New all-time highs there for Apple. I had written down 344.99. There it goes up to 336 today. Apple up to 337, actually. That really got going as well. So
some crazy waves.
Market downside right there. Looks like Tesla's going up.
Yeah, Tesla hit 311 to the downside here, so that doesn't really give you much of a chance in terms of a pop at all. Intel's lower as well. We talked about Bitcoin and crypto, that literally no movement whatsoever on IBIT. I got SLV on the mind though. Every single day, well, I shouldn't say every single day, the last 2 sessions of the week, this was like dip and rip at the open. It's got a nice downward trend. If it breaks that trend, want long. Otherwise, looking for about 52.5 on SLV. So the market is headed lower. It's just not the Mag 7 that are going to end up taking it there. And then one of the names that we were also watching here that, not Roblox, Rocket Lab, muscle memory, everybody. I type an R and then everything goes right to Roblox. Rocket Lab immediately loses the bid at the open and catches a nice little bounce here. But so far, nothing really. I mean, SpaceX doesn't seem to want to give you any chance to fade the highs. It's just breaking down already.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
Cancel that 18.
I'm going to try to stay on what we want to do, right? And that is try to play the names that we initially thought of. So Apple upside, I'm going to bid 334, pre-market breakout right there, 334.50 for Apple. Let's check out on the edible one here. Definitely preferring edibles, but there it goes, the upside right there. This is Edible Garden, of course, talking about, I think it was the basil and different, what am I looking at? Thyme. Those are called mint, all of that. Herbs. The herb game is strong here with Edible Garden. And there it is with Walmart. So it's a nice move higher there. Looks like we are going to halt, and we just did halt. So that's halting at 830. The top right now, 840, as Edible Garden's looking to eat up some market cap today. Upside there through $9 would be the next little look. So it's halted, not doing a whole heck of a lot. That should be a 5-minute halt. It looks pretty controlled. We'll see if that does happen. 9:31. So we'll check back on EDBL at 9:35 or so. It's a couple more minutes. It's only 8:33 tap. So it looks like we're just tapping out where we came from. All right, Apple's still higher, Google's still higher. We can have a look at SK Hynix here as well. And I know, okay, so it's right back in. This is that 156 to 158 area that we actually talked about with SKHY. So has now fallen through 158. If it bounces off 156, that'd be amazing. These are the levels that we sort of were looking at. But I'm going to stay away early, just a little too early. The market's giving it all back. I mean, just rewind an hour ago, and I was talking about it being underneath VWAP, looking weak. It's part of the reason why we try to stick with strong names on here and why we're bidding lower. Wow, there it is, man. We really starting to give it up. Like, what is going lower here?
Well, I can tell you,
it's the RAM names.
Intel stopped moving down. SpaceX has slowed down. I mean, Tesla looks like it's slowed. One we didn't get to, QBTS did have news on it for everyone that's mentioning. Now 13% to the upside for QBTS. There was an extension. Go ahead.
Sorry, they also rang the bell at the NASDAQ just now. I just saw that, so that could also be
good for them.
Excitement.
Hey, good for them, QBTS. Of course, that AT&T partnership extending. That is now squeezing 18, a monster level for QBTS as that continues to go. Intel's going to break out, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking at the market go down, and Intel, that's looking pretty strong, relatively speaking. So back into 94. I mean, I don't know if it gets to 99, 100. But if it gets anywhere near that 99 to 100, remember that was a big time resistance level. So yeah, Tesla, I'm offering SpaceX, but the only stock I'm on the offer in front of VWAP. But even Tesla's starting to battle back a little bit here. The market's still at the bottom, and I can't find a single thing that's at the low. Like, everything seems to have already bounced. So why is the market not going with it?
I don't know. I mean, I took a new position, the first one of the day here, and it's just going to be on the TQs. And I'm trying to answer the same question that you're asking here, and it's just like, why is the market down right now? We looked at DRAM. That's getting hit just a little bit to the downside. I'm going to take a bid here on the NASDAQ, and I'm just going to wait to see if we do take out. I'd like to get a little longer down here at 40. This is just an early punch there, but it's a nice 20-cent win to start the day off here with the TQQQs. We'll offer it out at 86 if we're lucky enough to get that, and that'll put 26 cents in our pocket there. My stop is always going to be 30. So 60, there it is. So 65.30s there. So we'll take a 1-to-1 there, 30 cents in the money now. As here we go. Let's take another bid, another offer if we can get it at 96. We're really starting to get higher now. There it is. Yes, sir. All right, man. That's going to be a good one to start the day. There it is. And we go back to the futures, and there's a nice trade off of some of those lows there. We looked at each other and was wondering what was creating this move down. We'll take advantage of it now and start to blast a little bit higher. Do we miss Google? Yes. Do we miss Apple? Yes. But we take advantage of this market lull and take a piece out. And let's take some more out of 15s. There it goes right now, man. We're doing it every single day live right now. This is a 30-cent worth of a shot. It's now 65 cents in the money. It's the NASDAQ with a little bit of a bump there off those lows. Let's see if it winds up holding now the TQQs. We're already out there of 30%. Maybe get a one more spot here at 04, and then we'll wait to see if we can get a more continued move into this market, potential market rally. Still up 1%, so it hasn't completely fallen on its head yet.
No, not yet. I mean, the ES is actually looking almost relatively stronger. That's actually going to break through the volume weighted average price. But what's at VWAP right now for me is going to be SpaceX. The question is only, can it hold that volume weighted average price underneath? If it does, that remains a short. Don't want to be fighting the overall, I don't want to say overall trend of the market, but the market is up. And it is bouncing nicely, as you can see over there with the TQs. But yeah, it looks like we're going to close underneath that 113. The other thing I am monitoring is a long breakout here in SLV. So that would be a trend break through the volume weighted average price in silver. Let that one try to matriculate its way back into the upside. I saw someone in the chat mentioning SoFi, of all things.
Really?
They report this week, but no, it's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
SoFi is
That's a change.
not loading, but it's up 5%.
Whoa.
And exploding higher here. So not sure
Someone
if
must
there's
have made a
anything
keystroke error.
particularly going on with SoFi. Robinhood's doing something very similar. So both these names, relative strength compared to the market for sure. And certainly this is not a crypto story because
Crypto's bouncing a little bit.
It's bouncing a little bit, but not as much as those two. So that's a lot of strength that I'm seeing over there in SoFi. That could be, look, $18 a monster level for that thing. And Robinhood, 100. Oh, I like me some Robinhood. So power it up, Robinhood. Keep holding those 80s and keep flying.
Yeah, I'm going to give Apple, so we are flying here with the NASDAQ, so that's going to be a good one. We just took another piece out upside on that as well. Apple did fall into a level that I was thinking about buying, and I just canceled my bid there at 50s, which it looks like that's going to be a mistake, fail on myself for now. We'll see if it's wind up being the story. Who knows? A little early. I don't want to slap too much negativity on that, but I just did cancel it. We were just long at, we just put a bid down there and we canceled it. I wasn't, the way Apple fell there, I was like, yeah, maybe today is not the Apple day that I was hoping, but could have taken a bid there. We would have had almost another, well, would have had almost would have had $1 in on that one, but reverse dollar clubbing right there. That's too bad. But that's all right. We'll wait. So I canceled it and I put it to 334. So I literally went to 334.05 right there, trying to use this as my out, 333.50. So I just didn't want to take a bid there and lose $1 in case we were wrong. So did get a little more conservative there with Apple, down to 334. That is a fail because we should have had Apple there. We didn't. So okay, we'll pass on that one for now. All right, so a nice little battle back there. So it is a good thing that we took a couple more outs there near the top. And actually, we had those first 3 outs that everybody saw. We threw it back over to Neil. We took another one there at 66.05. Now you're falling back in. Now remember, I was always thinking pretty red here today on the market. Not pretty red, but until we take VWAP, so that just didn't happen. Hence why we cleared it out. However, I still do have another bid down here right at 40. So we're gonna see if that works. We still wanna give it that 30 cents back in. So 30 cents off this fill. But if we get filled at 40, I'm gonna stop out on a 30 break. Don't necessarily wanna be in the TQs here if we do break too much below the day's low there. So gonna give this a little bit of room as we trade back into the futures contract again right there. And we will wait for Alphabet to come back in as well as Apple. Yeah, so 2 strong names that I like, and I'm going to assume SpaceX is not going up right now, but if it does, I wouldn't mind.
Bounced.
Did it? Okay, I wouldn't mind fading that one as well. So yeah, back into 325 might be a look here for me on Alphabet, but yeah.
No, SpaceX did bounce. It bounced right into the volume-weighted average price, and shocker alert, all right. It put in a lower high, and I'm going to check Rocket Labs in a quick little second. My guess is it might be doing something similar, but put it in a lower high, just grabbed it when it came back into that pre-market support level. Look, the bottom was 111, I don't know, half on Friday, and then it was just underneath the 111, I believe, as well on Thursday. So you're at a double bottom here that you got to respect. So for me, it's a scalp until that low. My stop is going to be the 13.5. So just took out the 1-to-1. I'm going to look for the low of the day here on SpaceX. Just respect the range that's been in there. Silver doesn't look like it's holding trend. Remember, Rocket Lab had they had their own news. Okay, they're strong today. Rocket Lab is actually breaking out a little bit better than SpaceX. So I thought maybe they would be heading down as well. So Rocket Lab on their own news looking strong as the market starts to pull back. Yeah, SpaceX, I'll go for 1 reload there, but I wanted to also look at DRAM. Did it get high enough? Oh, not even close. DRAM's at the low. This never broke VWAP? You gotta be kidding me. So that market bounce didn't even get DRAM past 55. So still a little bit of weakness here in the memory chip names. I guess they're still selling the news.
We picked up a little bit here, right? We picked up a little bit, not on SpaceX, sorry, on the TQs down in this area. We're still waiting for, there it is, did we get it? We're still waiting for 41s. It just bounced off of us there this could turn out to be a loser. We'll go red on TQs if this does come back in too hard right here, but we're still waiting. There we go. We get the 41 bid now, so you can see my prices completely changed. Now we're at 65.45, so a couple dip buy opportunities here. I said we're going to drop out. Just got to make sure that order's in there. It still is 65.30. So if we drop down into 65.30, we can be gone out of this one like real quick, man. And if we do get a little bit of a bump, which we are, let's take some out. We just took some 52s right there. Remember, our big out, our big load there was 41s. So we're trying to only give ourselves about 11 to 12 cents there on the downside if we stop out at that level. So we'll see if we get some more outs at 1-to-1, which would be right into the 50s there if we can get it. But here comes a move lower right now. Not great for the overall market, taking out the day's low. So we will stop out if this does break 30s, which it looks like. There it is, which is about
NVIDIA
to do. So
tanking.
Yeah. ASML is tanking right here. There is some stuff about China.
Yeah, there's some China news
coming through here with. Yeah, it's just that their machines are starting to kick into action right there, which is ASML's problem, and that's down 4%, so a nasty one here. Sharif says he owns 2 names, ASML and Apple, so this is not a great move there for ASML. Let's go find out more from Adara.
I mentioned that this morning. I know Sean mentioned it this morning as well here with ASML, but let's talk about it again here as the stock continues to decline. Very likely we'll see this drink happening now as well in about 17 minutes. So ASML dropping here, the information reporting that ASML, I guess, could be facing some competition now in China. China apparently now looking to reduce their reliance on ASML, so a state-backed Chinese firm has begun mass-producing domestic DUV lithography machines. Now, apparently, again, output is very, very low. They're still in the works, so it's not anything massive, but that's the deal here with ASML. Back to you.
Yeah, like you got to be concerned with the reference I made last time with China and ASML was like the old Nortel one. It's like you can be leading all you want, and then all of a sudden, you know, China decides, hey, let's make this cheaper for ourselves and come up with our own, and their own might be a little bit of copying, might be a little bit cheating. In this particular case, they're looking for an alternative way to do what their high lithography machines are able to pull off. I just pulled up ASML in Amsterdam, which is primary listing, so that's my bad. The percentage and all is going to be the exact same. Oh, it isn't the same thing. So 4% here to the downside. No, do not like that at all. You're going to see Nvidia taking it on the chin, though. This is what's really leading the NASDAQ lower. It's Nvidia down now at 202.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, the thing about Nvidia in the 200 level is it was a huge hold a couple of weeks ago through the 200. Like, look at the false break and then the recovery through $200. But look at this 15-minute candle. That is like a death candle over there on Nvidia. It's down 2% in what was looking like a strong day for some of the chip names. So watch out for that 200. It did break it last time. It got to like 190, I think 198 or just slightly underneath that. So there could be another defense, but remember, it broke the 200 pretty decently before it caught any kind of a bid. Intel right back into the lows. So it's trying to put in that double bottom. Didn't find my way into that, but at least, well, in what is the most illogical thing ever, the market goes lower and breaks the lows, and silver is holding this trend break. So I'm going to follow the rules, and I'm going to be long this one above VWAP and give it to the prior wick here, which is 53.18. So yeah, the market trying to give it up, I'd say on the face of this Nvidia move, really. Like, Nvidia started the cascade downside. ASML obviously not helping, but my goodness, Nvidia getting smoked.
Yeah, not great there. I mean, this is the problem. Is I've said this already. Kimi and everything that's being developed over there in China is going to be a much more affordable platform than anything we have here right now. And if Kimi's actually, thank you, Rob, so much. If Kimi's actually working, you know, to the extent that apparently it is, you could say see you later to Gemini and OpenAI for all the sort of the base case uses here. It's just going to cost way too much. And I already told you the story. The $200 Anthropic plan, if maximized, winds up costing Anthropic and Claude, that department, over $6,000 just in token fees alone. So I do think that, you know, potentially there does not need to be a push. If these models are being built in China on the back of Huawei chips and on the back of Alibaba's new TPUs and whatnot, I think there is a definite worry spot there for Nvidia shareholders and everybody just to worry about it. I don't know if it's, you know, somebody to say, oh my God, I need to dump my position. But if we're in early innings with AI, I'm afraid that China is already catching up. And as Neil said, about to take it all out and see you later.
It's what they do.
Yeah, I would be.
It's what they do.
I would honestly, I don't own ASML, and like I said, man, this is a Sharif thing, but I think that this is not even a horrible time to sell. I mean, sure, you've missed the complete top of $2,000, but being down at 1670 here, I think it's only going to get worse as this story becomes more populated.
You're looking at a company that has not had to have competition.
Yeah.
That's the point. They've never had to truly compete. And that's a gigantic uncertainty for them. So it's not to say, I'm not saying that they're dead, but you know, if you want to stay in the space, there's Lam, which would be a different technology company in the chip space, and there's AMAT, a little bit different, but those are companies that are used to competing and having to deal with all this. So yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq's still taking it on the chin here, with Nvidia heading lower, and again, maybe 200 holds. But that's a pretty large maybe. The new position is silver on this. I mean, now it's a trend break, but it just double tapped the prior bar and didn't break. So I want to play this to the HOD. SpaceX continues to just be a trend trade, because this 111. Who was it with the 111? It was who was saying 111.11 in our chat?
Oh, that was Lindenmeyer.
Lindenmeyer, that's who it is. Lindenmeyer has been going on about the fact that 111 is going to be the bottom. Well, it's held a couple of times now, and today it already bounced once at 111.5. It might be putting in a bit of a trend break here at 112. So I'm going to tighten the stop. If I think that this is a temporary low, for some reason this isn't even falling as much as the market all of a sudden. Market's making fresh lows. I'm still bidding. I'm bidding at the half, even though that's not the LOD. But I'll probably just trail this one. If it closes above 112 on this 3-minute, then that's a good exit point. We have a super chat from.
Oh, good.
It's Shafi. It's Shafi.
Oh, Shafi.
Well, first of all, it's in Canadian dollars, so Canada, thank you very much.
Shafi.
Any thoughts on Lucid for a swing trade or hold long term? Price pretty low, and I like that high volume doji on the daily. Is it over for them? Remember, a lot of what was going on with Lucid was that bankruptcy story that they refuted. So I think there was a squeeze after the fact, right? Like this is just because of that bankruptcy story. It's not technical it wasn't like an earnings reversal, and a bunch of people might have just gotten trapped on this sucker at those lows, and then it squoze for a few days, and it feels like it's on the back end of that to me. So maybe the levels that it was at before 550, I guess, could be pretty good for Lucid, because if it was a fugazi story, then it should be trying to trade above that level. But I'm staying away from this sucker, because to me, like, someone just got squoze a bit, and you're just sort of chasing the after move here with them.
Man, we are good look there with Lucid. I mean, what a move there for Lucid. We saw Rivian getting hit a little bit there as well. We'll wait to see what winds up happening with all of those names, as the markets are pretty tipsy-turvy as far as all that is concerned. We did enter into a short now, so let's take advantage of that with the market. And we did our sort of what's up to easy peasy, man. We did our little Katina Man flip-flop right into there as we wind up taking exactly what we wanted to do, and that was reverse this position into the short. As I'm sitting here talking about how this whole China story is going to be a huge problem. So I'm going to go short the overall NASDAQ right now and just ask questions later, take the short in right now and just give it a little bit of a look here as we try to breathe a little easier in that story. And again, I don't know exactly what this story is going to bring, but I'm going to try to go short now just for that reason, okay? So that's what I'm trying to think about now, is the short in the market. I am going to stop out if we take out the 25 period moving average. We're not going to try to say that this is the right play. We're just going to try to play what we see right now. So short into there, we just took advantage of it a little bit to the downside, trying to hold on in case there is a little bit of a bigger move. But I could see some choppiness, obviously, in this market, as right now we are near the lows of the NASDAQ. And now here comes trying to get right back upside. So this is why, taking profit is always part of the game when the profit's there. So now we'll wait. I'm going to stop out if we take this level. So at 60, let's just put it in 65, 60 right now. That makes sense to me. I sort of wanted to give it a little bit of room up to the 25 period moving average. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. We just got short our average price here, 35. So we covered some 19s. We covered some more in the teens. So that gave us that 1-to-1 temporarily. Doesn't mean that it's going to work out for us moving forward. But right now, just chug that coffee a little bit too quick right there. 65.40s is where we're at right now. So we're slightly out of the position on this trade, but just trying to see if Nvidia wants to bounce, right? I mean, and the good thing about the market here is we believe, if you believe in your stock, then you can find good spots. 201, we had seen that already sort of happen there on Nvidia, come back into 200 and hold a couple times. So it looks like it's trying to do that right now. So yeah, I'm a little worried that the market's trying to hold, but it is NASDAQ time to shine again for temporarily. And we'll see if the move is higher or lower. But here it goes. See that? It just cracked a little bit lower. I'm going to put another bid here in the low 20s and then put another where you have a bid at 11s. So we'll see if we can catch some drifts down. But this market seems to be pretty back and forth. And I think a lot of it, too, is strength with Google, right? So we did buy some of this on the first day. So we bought some at 320 there, and now we're back up to 328. So at least it's moving around a little bit here where we can support it. But so far, so good here on the Google long as we wait to see what NASDAQ is going to do. My biggest and only position right now of the day. These are more shares on here than we had on the long. So, hey, man, we're about to see if we can take this name southbound, or if we get stopped out at 65.60 here for the market. But that's what I'm trying to do now.
Well, I can tell you SpaceX
is a good one.
It didn't hold that low after all. So SpaceX is now at an all-time...
Oh, shoot, we should have...
Almost all-time low?
More.
You know what? It might not have actually made an all-time low. It looks like it's holding on to the all-time low by an absolute thread. But I played it to the low of the day from the volume weighted average price. SLV as the market turns. We got one take profit on this trend break, but I think you lose the bid here. If you lose the bid, then really that's a very weak trend break, and I should be looking for the reversal. Bitcoin is the other place. Oh, that just already did it. Bitcoin just made a bit of a temporary top, relatively strong, but looks like that one's starting to come back in. And I don't think we're going to get a shot at Intel short anywhere near where we were looking at. It's got to really change the tone here. Like there's a false break of the high, and there's a trend down. So the next place to look is VWAP, which sits at 93. So I'll try to join this one short, but I was thinking a lot higher here on Intel. I know a lot of you are looking at that, like those small cappers, that EDBL. Great pre-market for EDBL. It just halted down a second time here. And I just realized I don't have my scanner up, so I'll have to get that up, my halt scanner. Second halt down.
I don't have it halting. Oh, 946.
Yeah, it's halted. I see the tap at 550. So volatility halt for EDBL. Downside, tap is saying $5.50. All my screens just went off there, Fabian, for a split second. I don't know what you're doing there. But so EDBL halted to the downside.
All right, Fabian will get that all figured out. But yeah, good look there. I'm starting to get a little bit more out. We just got bounced off of 65.11. That was our bid there for TQ. So we'll have to wait to see if it winds up coming back in and filling us up. And then we'll try to hold the rest and see if we can have a bigger day here on the NASDAQ as the market is moving lower, 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 lower. BIOT halted. Doesn't look like there's much going on there. Here's one from last week, ADVB. We had this one halting around and jumping a little bit last week. So there's a nice move higher for ADVB. Again, good moves last week. We'll see if that one winds up holding. YYAI, 100,000 shares today, and that has halted as well. So yeah, let's have a quick little look just at the broader market. I mean, we've been talking very much tech names here, but let's just go see if there's anything else rallying. We did see a big move there in financials earlier today, as we indicated. Yes, there it goes. Let's go. Money's coming in right now. Unfortunately, the market gets new lows right there, as we just shorting this TQ trade has turned out to be quite a profitable switch up over there. Okay, new position. We got to watch out for this. I don't know if I want this position in. It's Apple. Good little takedown there at 334. We'll talk about this in a second. But good move down there. That just came in real quick, man. I don't even know if that was something that we had wanted, but he'll take the long. And we talked about 334 and giving it to 335.50s. So, sorry, 333.50. But I'm already short the market, so I'm going to take out a little bit here and then take out a little bit more on the market as well. So I don't necessarily want to be in both Apple long and market short. But here we go, man. The Apple long is starting to print out. So we'll offer some more there at 36. We got it. So it's a 40-cent win here. Look, we had the bid there from that full time when we missed it back there to the upside. So here it comes right back in. So it's a good look for us on this Apple long. It's also a great look for us on this market short. I don't remember the last time we actually saw the Apple trade sort of pop the way it is. Meanwhile, the market is tanking, but there goes Apple right now upside. Here goes the market downside. So we're going to be quite nice right now. We've got a day and a half of a goal here, and we just sort of started, so it's been so far so good. It's the TQ's reversal that has meant everything to my day. We were red. And we talked about being red on this one as it fell back in, and we said, okay, well, we're going to go red on this, and we reversed into the short, so that's a monster. And here it is, man, $1. We go clubbing on Apple. Sometimes it's like bank error in your favor. We panicked out of this one real quick, thinking it was not him, but it is him. And there goes Apple right now, straight up to the upside. So SpaceX all-time low, great short over there. I know you just covered it, but that's a great short. And then we also have Apple right now that just goes clubbing right there. That's $1 on Apple, 50 cents here on the TQs. Man, this has been a very, very productive Monday. We're glad we're here with you. The short in the NASDAQ and the long in Apple. Oh boy, we've got it cooking here early.
Yeah, great one over there. And thank you, Nick Dove, for the super chat. I don't know Cora very well, but thank you for the super chat. It's your pick for the next 6 months for a move to 24, either on data or a takeover path for a 5x over the next year. Good luck today. Obviously, buying anything for a takeout is a little bit difficult, but playing, if you know your time range,
getting like Thai food for takeout.
Well, you mean like a buyout?
Oh, yeah. Buyout. Okay.
You mean for buyout, obviously. Unfortunately for me, you can't reverse with a single order. Here, you've got to get out of a long position and then try the reverse. So I didn't actually get filled on the SLV reversal here. Just leave the order on the off chance that we're able to get in. But this is absolutely flushing. SpaceX is about to break $110.
Ooh,
That's pretty nasty. DRAM, in all of the memory names are absolutely flushing, DRAM included. So when I see, Bitcoin's about to lose VWAP. I didn't pay for BM&R shorts here today, but I'm going to because that's only now breaking trend. So I wanted to find something that fit the thesis, but hasn't completely fallen apart and can join the party. So I'm going to quickly pay for locates on BM&R because in this reversal, I would have taken Bitcoin short if it had popped higher than it did, but it did not. Do we have free locates? I should always check first. No, we don't. I knew we didn't. We'll probably pay less than 1 cent per share for these as this is about to break that flag. So remember, everybody, everyone got excited for the market gapping up and oil being down. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The market has been a sell for quite some time.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, we actually mentioned, and we'll do the old Barry Horowitz and tap ourselves on the shoulder here because we had talked about the sell happening early, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I didn't think I even said I don't think we're going to get to red today. That was going to be a wrong call because boy, oh boy, are we getting there real quick. And we're just going to take advantage of this move and just start to cover, man. We are at 2 times our daily goal right there and turned red, right? We turned red early and then we just flattened it out, went short. And again, don't get stuck. As Neil said, sometimes you wish you double reversed an order or whatever you did. We actually took a little bit of time before, getting into the short. So we didn't let like our FOMO of the long being wrong there hit us. We breathe, we take a couple breaths, we find this name and we short it against again. We talked about this move, right? Our stop was always 30 cents. So there's a 30-cent stop for a $1 win. So it's a 3-to-1 right there. And we actually have a decent percentage still on board here as we're trying to make new lows in the NASDAQ. So one more out here at 40, why not? You take that out and you get it, and then you go long on the strong name, and then that's another win right there for our good friend on AAPL, as right now that one's rocking higher. So man, what a day this is turning out to be. We will go over many different names when we get back here. I want to do like a little bit of a sector watch as well, but for right now, we do have Adara back at the desk. Let's see what she's up to.
Very happy to be back with you all, but the market not having too good of a morning, as Sean mentioned. S&P 500 right now, maybe trying to bottom out at least temporarily. Looks like we could be getting our first green 15-minute candle of the day after 2 sharply red 15-minute candles, but the candle is young. We still have roughly 14 minutes to go. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, looking almost identical here to the S&P 500. And in the case of NASDAQ, actually much worse. Looks like we almost entirely closed this gap to the upside. A lot of these gaps up in the market had to do with a decline in oil, USO dropping pretty sharply here. The U.S. pausing, sounds like here, strikes against Iran after 2 straight weeks of nightly strikes. Could be getting some kind of talks between the U.S. and Iran, though Iran has actually denied this. Take a look here at Microsoft. You've got MSFT, Apple, Amazon, and Meta in focus. All 4 of those Mag 7 companies are going to be reporting earnings here within the next week. So you've got Wednesday and Thursday 4 earnings for these Mag 7 names. Keep an eye on these names. You also have ASML. ASML leading some of the other chip names, including Nvidia, to the downside. Long story short, the information reporting that ASML could be facing some competition with China trying to make their own domestic DUV lithography machine. So stay posted. We'll keep you guys posted if we hear anything else, and keep an eye on these chip names today. Also keep an eye on the show. You can hit the like, hit the subscribe, and stick with us all day as we send you back over to Sean and Neil.
Yeah, I just turned over to Joe there, and because I was talking to Neil about it, we were talking to you guys about it. I'm like, I can't believe what's happening here. Apple's now $250 in the money. Like, I really wish that we had, believed in that a little bit more instead of panicking out of it. And what I mean by panicking out of it is like I couldn't, when it came in, I was only thinking short, right? And so when that sort of came through, I was like, we don't necessarily want to lose what we've made here on the short by taking a stab at Apple there. But I think this just goes to show you like the patience pays. And that's actually what I just tweeted out here not too long ago. And we had mentioned Apple earlier, and it was right into there, 331 long, but that never hit. But the idea that we talked about was keep playing the momentum into earnings there. So we were very, very patient, and we just tweeted this out. That was a couple minutes ago when Apple was only at 335. It's now at 337. Apple's all the way up here right now. But that was, patience paying there with Apple. We take that long at 334. And again, it's not even a name that I can be like, I was that confident in because we did exit out of it. But there it goes. Wow. Right back up to highs as the market looking to bleed. And I do have an out here at 70 to get out of 25% of what we have left here. But it's a nice downside play there. And we do have to remind everybody that you can also trade like this if you have access with Trade the Pool. Markets have been extremely active lately, and for traders, this kind of environment creates great opportunities. More setups, yes, and more momentum. But to take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access, wow, this is getting even better, firm capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in right now. You can no more fear of blowing up your personal account, no more moving your stop loss too early. This is getting to be crazy. You now can call limited risk trading with Trade the Pool. Take advantage of this volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital. It's tradethepool.com. It's one word. Please scan that QR code that you see on your screen right there. But there it is, man. There's the market now turning red, or just ticked red. Let's see if we can hold green for now. Positive by just a hair. And your boys got that short. We've got $2 in over here on a name that we love, Apple. Neil had the short there in SpaceX, as I think that's still bleeding lower, right?
Still low.
Yeah, still one.
Well, every low.
110 could be interesting. You know, there's no doubt about that one. We're almost at 3x here, our day. So it's been a really strong start to Monday. Will the market hold these levels is the interesting thing here. So we're starting to cover a little bit. Remember, 64.70 will be a top there for me to get out. I was trying to use this little 2-bar thing here and just wait to see what happens on the 2-minute chart. So trying to cover up that last 2-minute bar would be 64.30 there. I bumped it up here into 70, into this level, but maybe we could lower it to, you know, maybe even getting a little bit out on a 50 fill. But we've taken a lot out on the way down. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. We can hold on a little bit to our Apple. But hey, man, it's been a good day so far, and glad that everybody's here. Make sure you do hit the like, hit the subscribe everywhere that you're following us. Make sure you do that. Let them know that you found the best station now to watch your morning market moves.
Willis Addison, thank you for the super chat there, for sure. Thank you. Put it up there. Apple is on roids. Send it, market maker.
That is for sure.
Well, remember, it did this on Friday.
Exactly.
Like, it was ridiculous on Friday to the upside in the face of what was a weak market. But it is death to all of memory right now, unfortunately. DRAM.
That's because of China.
It was
Where's
up
that
4 or
China
5%,
China.
And now it's -1. I don't have the China button, but I'm telling you, that is the story. China. That is what's absolutely tanking things here. No question about it. All right, I might get my opportunity here in SLV if it's going to try to bounce. Look, it already broke trend, took it above VWAP. The second it gets to VWAP, I wanted to be short. But if we just end up consolidating here, which it looks like we are, then the trend is telling you, all right, take first shot at the southbound trade in here on SLV. So I would have liked it to go all the way into the volume weighted average price. Can't reverse from a long position on a single order, so I kind of had to punch twice there and did miss. So we're going to take this short into this prior wick high, which is just above the 53. There's not a lot of strength out there, and I know a lot of times when the market is tanking, I'll tell you, hey, just look at a small cap if you want to find some. But unfortunately for the small cap traders, that EDBL opened after the halt and is continuing to make fresh lows. So it's giving up almost the entirety of the move here. Now only 65% to the upside and down at $5. So unfortunately for them, it has not looked good. So we're still short BM&R, looking for the volume weighted average price. Silver we just jumped into, and SpaceX is double tapped 110. I don't want to fade it down here, not off an obvious psychological level like 110. Let it false break the low, try to bounce, and then short the pop. There hasn't really been a pop in SpaceX yet. I think it catches a bid somewhere, and the first green candle looks like an opportunity, I think, to maybe re-engage the short on that bad boy. But yeah, Nasdaq's on the verge of going into the red. It's only a matter of time before that happens. No Nvidia bounce, no DRAM bounce, no market bounce.
Yeah, guys, the Nasdaq just did turn red, and we just made another post up there. Briefly turns red, but looks like it's back to green zone. And just before we went over to speak to Adara there, I was in the midst of telling you, like, you know, this is why we always mention, like always mention about diversity and having diversity. Yeah, diversity as well, but also diversification in your portfolio. You know,
Shout out to Wu-Tang.
It's just, shout out to Wu-Tang. He's got to manage those bonds, getting on there. But diversify your portfolio with those bonds. But AMAT, we talked about, ASML is not even in here. But, a big hit today for some of the industrials and some of the manufacturing names, including GE Vernova, which was actually cruising in the pre-market, right? So were many of these names. This is not to pick on any of these. I mean, Marvell, a lot of these names were upside, and I'm not even sure where they are now. But, what's been working, we really like some J&J, right? We put that in our portfolio a while ago, and we actually made it one of our calls moving forward for the next 6 months. Really like some J&J. We've already got a shit ton of Eli Lilly and AbbVie in the account, so that's all working out real well, right? Today, energy, like the space, nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's actually nice to see that you're only down this percentage points here, considering that oil was down 6. We could have a quick look to see what oil is doing again, but we like XOM and some CVX there today. Market trying to rebound a bit here, which is nice. We are going to stop out of a little bit more of our shares as we start to rebound up, and we can talk about that in a minute, which we've already done. Palantir up 4, so there is strength, right? I mean, if you look at these technology service names, if you're not in DRAM, remember we are talking about the memory getting real whacked. Wow, Apple is now 250 in the money and taking out day's high right now, 337. Oracle 5% up, that's sweet. IBM, nice. They had some news there with Circle today, so that's real good. I don't know if Netflix is ever going to get out of its own way, but it's back up to $70 there. CrowdStrike. Nice to see ServiceNow going. Microsoft, good one. Microsoft we've got in our account as well, and Google. We've got all these names right there. So that's trying to bounce upside a little bit. Manufacturing, finance. Other than that, not much else to really talk about here today. There's the industrials. We did have a quick look over there. These are different. This is more standard fare here. Waste management. And I believe we have, that's Halliburton over there. I don't know what they're doing in that space. Maybe that's not even Halliburton. Consumer non-durables, we saw an upgrade from Coke. I think was on the board there today as well. Coke earnings coming later on this week. Philip Morris. But here's just a little bit of an overall look. Part of the problem, pretty much all the problem. And we sold some AMD last week right at this price and again at 540. So we're done pretty well here, raising some capital in AMD. So I'm really proud of that trade, although it didn't look that great against us a little while ago. AMD downside as the NASDAQ, Neil, just took out day's low as we talked about it, potentially rallying back upside while it just took down the lows again. So I'm going to put out another bid here at 03 and take that. And let's just spin it, man. As the market gets into the gates of hell, we are really enjoying ourselves today trading to the short side of the NASDAQ and trading to the long side of Apple. So far, so good here. I'm going to take another piece out of Apple and we'll throw it back over to Neil. But it's been a good one. And just thanks everybody in the chat today. I know there's been a busy market and we're trading some of these names and we're trying to show you some halting names and whatnot. But that EDBL, Neil, hasn't even,
there's no bid.
Yeah, I was going to say it opened back up, but there hasn't been much of a bid in this name and not halting, not giving us that juice. But oh gosh, man, it's bleeding to the downside there. It's a good thing that we still got a little piece on here, about 20%. I still love that SpaceX short and I'm interested to see where that one settles.
Huge bottoming tail candle on SpaceX. I was looking for the false break of 110 and then a possible short opportunity, but that's a huge reversal candle. I did take a trend break. I'll get to BMNR and SLV because the shorts are obviously working. But whoops. There was a trend break here in Intel. First green candle, took the shot. We got the stop at not the low of the day. It's the prior bar. So I'm going to let it bounce off of 90.20 or so for my out, and then I want to play this into the volume weighted average price. The goal here is VWAP on Intel. If it goes further than that, fantastic. We're able to did not get the low of the day bid there on SLV after that trend break. And so we just got the curl, didn't really even get that last bid, but I want to play again. Play it to the low, scalp some out, and then if we break this support here, look toward the gap fill at 52.5. So scalp in here and then hold if it breaks down into 52.5. BMNR is trying to get into VWAP, but SpaceX, I'm telling you. That actually, I'm glad we didn't short this because that looks like an actual reversal to the long side on SpaceX. That's looking really strong here off that 110 hold. You wanted to see a false break and then it come back down and take it a second time. They didn't. They're just buying it up in front of the 110 here on SPCX. Heavy all-time low candle on that bad boy. So I'm guessing you can call it a capitulation bottom, but maybe every $5 is just going to be a spot where they try to defend it on SpaceX for better or for worse. It's been for worse for a while.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Mercer's messaging me at 3650. Yeah, 3650. Okay, I got to change my sticky note. Apparently, I had written down on here. Mercer helps me put it up there on Instagram. She says I wrote down the wrong price for IBIT, 3650. It's supposed to be, what do I have on here? 3850. Yes, she is right once again. What a surprise. Yeah, so there's a look
That's a little
on
bit higher.
IBIT there. Yeah, long 3650 on IBIT, not 3850. But shout out to my wife for pointing that out to me. Okay, so that would be that. All right, so we're gonna watch out. It doesn't matter now as IBIT is currently rocking and rolling to the downside. I'm gonna cancel and find out how much. I mean, this is really starting to be special now. I mean, we just got it. Oh, we didn't. Sorry, I'm bidding 62s. This is really starting to get pretty nasty to the downside here as China has invaded. I said that last week too. Has invaded this RAM side of things. EDBL.NQ. With CXMT just came to market now is a huge holding over there in China. We did see ASML, they're coming after their machinery as well. So EDBL, we're gonna try 100 shares. We're gonna see how much this costs to get short. And a big shout out thank you to Luis for joining us here in the chat. He was there earlier. It's come way better now. Now it's only $4 to short edible. So meaning it's only 5 cents right now for EDBL. So which was 30 cents back at the beginning of the day. Now, Luis, if you're looking, there it is. Nice downside play there for EDBL. Only 5 cents worth now here if you're trading with us at Real Trading. You could put in your request to go
That's
short,
worth it. I mean,
and definitely worth it, I would say. I mean, anytime you could, 5 cents, I mean, come on. Don't be shy, don't be a ruin or anything like that. If you want to look at this, pay the 5 cents, man. It's pretty cheap. Even if you pay it for 500 shares.
Then if it bounces again,
it's $25.
Because it'll go up again if it bounces that price.
Yeah, so it's just,
gotta pay for it
look, if it's not your style, it's not really mine nor Neil's, but we're still looking for opportunities in this space. So that's why I wanted to call it up, and it's only 5 cents right now. So I think we'll
I don't
take
like
some.
those short.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we'll just wait for it. But just want to give you that update. I wasn't sure myself. So there is the update on EDBL. Now much more affordable if you are here at Real Trading. And if you are looking, I don't know where the book is. We do have the Real Trading book. Well, here it is right here by Daniel Schleffer. You can go check this one out right there. Still 99 cents until August 10th on Amazon. Amazon. Their Audible books right there. You can go grab it right now for just what's it called? Kindle? Is that what it is? On Amazon there for $1. Talks about the rise of the machines and how humans do still have obviously a very important part: idea generation, liquidity. And
it's a very good read, and I mean certainly I'd say at all levels, because it does a very good job of breaking down to market fundamentals for anyone that's interested. So I read it on my on the vacation to London. Just very quick, we're gonna get to that super chat, but we took our shot at Intel. We'll say it's gonna be a fail for INTC. There was a trend break. There's the prior bar low. Not letting it break 90 on me. Just don't want it to even happen. I'm gonna allow myself basically just that prior bar. Same thing with SLV, like more of a flat trade there because we got the low and then a pretty tight stop on that. We have Chain Reactor, made some money on QBTS. That was a nice little run. Remember, D-Wave had their own news today. There was that AT&T partnership, expansion of the partnership. I didn't recall seeing any financial details, but we didn't get a chance to do too many technicals on this. It's right. Our daily chart is kind of jacked up on QBTS because it's only showing today. So if you show it here, it's this 18 break that's so key. As long as it holds on to 18, that's a monster level there for QBTS. And I think it did a very good job of it. I still don't know why we don't have data for this for today. It's not like it went to the NASDAQ.
It must have.
No, it was. I thought it went to the NASDAQ a while. Maybe it did.
Must have.
I could be wrong. But yeah, we don't have any data in our charts before, because whenever they switch, we don't get that update. Unfortunately, it doesn't go back and then show you. Same thing with like Facebook and Meta and the same deal. Like it's like the stock doesn't exist. But QBTS, I like the 18 level. Candidly, I own shares of that stock, so not to talk on my own book, but I'm not buying at these levels either. I think that stock is like a shot play hold. If it goes, it goes. But understand that could be worth 0. It's kind of like SMR. Easily could be worth a big fat 0, which is what I will give the BM on our trade. If we shorted it, but once it broke 18, If I'm taking a trend break, it's the prior bar high, not the high of the day. Looks like the high of the day is held, so I will jump back in and see if it can hold again. But I had my stop at the prior bar, hence why would you get out there? Yeah, because I play with the prior bar exit point. I'm going to jump in here, maybe give it to the 18, because as the market still goes, you're at a resistance spot here. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a reason why we should be holding up so well in BMNR. Although Tom Lee's got to be happy.
This is, I don't, he must be. Oh, I have no idea what's going on here with Apple, guys, but now it's 350 in the money, and really leading the way here for me is Apple. But I mean, the bigger trade P&L wise, and I've, right here, I'm just telling you, I made 4x, maybe 5x on this short than we did on Apple, right? Apple was just a first half a unit take. This was 3 or 4 units. As we were very, pretty confident there. And it's funny because we didn't even get our last short that we wanted there on the TQs, as this one's near the lows. All right, Adara, it's 10:20. Let's go find out what you're all about over there.
We're doing the small cap recap, but I also want to talk about this. BKR on watch. Baker here has reported earnings this morning. As you guys can see, gap up. Decent volume, about 3 million shares traded on the day. So for a name like this, not too bad here. We also just got some comments from the conference call for the earnings report saying that the Iran conflict impact is expected on certain projects, though supply chains are likely to be offset by strength elsewhere. So kind of a mixed look here coming from BKR during their earnings call. Regardless, lots of strength here for the stock. Let's take a look at VTAK, Catheter Precision. As you guys can see, a lot of highs and lows here for VTAK this morning. This name has rallied in the past. You've got a $1.06 million market cap, 1.21 million share float, and a 47.5% short float. So very significant short float. EDBL, this name has really fallen from grace here, but this catalyst is certainly worth noting, so let's talk about it again. Edible Garden expanding their fresh cut herb distribution with Walmart across the Mid-Atlantic. You also have here a $3.1 million market cap and a 630,000 share float. Last but not least, ENTX and Terra Bio in focus, announcing the pricing of their oversubscribed $275 million private placement. This name has a $170.5 million market cap and a 40 million share float. So less significant float and market cap here. Again, update here with their private placement. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. It's already 10:20. That's where we're just looking at those small caps. It's crazy. Time does fly. Throw up that super chat if we can. Andre, I'm not on the right page for it because we got one. I haven't looked at Alphabet, but there's West Palm Beach Trade saying thank you for the Alphabet trade there.
Never a problem. Never a problem. Thank you for watching, more importantly.
What up, West Palm Beach?
There, Mr. West
Can't
Palm.
tell where you're from.
Yeah, I think maybe West Palm Beach. Yeah. But look, I mean, obviously you're talking about, and I just said this, last week I was sitting here and I just went long at 320 on this stock. I mean, the minute that we missed on earnings there, and we dropped through this 200 period moving average, we could have had a better price, obviously 316, 317 there, but I'm not going to crowd for spilled milk. This was always going to be quite the large holding. And I mean, all we did was sell AMD at an average price of 520 or so and put it into Google. So you can clearly see selling AMD at 520 and you could see what this has done, right? We were sort of wondering if we made a mistake when we got some out at 495 and it ripped right back up to the north side there. But, all is well now as we've sort of, purposely raised some capital to do these moves, right? And it's just I wanted to get shorter in the AI race and longer in Google. And I do want to get into some Intel. And we did mention that a trade, I mean, I'm already in Intel, but we've obviously sold a decent percentage of this as well. If I don't like AMD, I mean, you can imagine what my thing here when Intel is. But still looking to get some Intel long. But that was a great break. We talked about sort of the pre-market break and that low break there from Friday. And there it is, man, now breaking through $92 and looks like that even wants to get lower now is Intel down 3.5%. Looking for some buy spots there. So if West Palm Beach, if you're looking, I will be buying some Intel and I'll let you know when. But we still do have a little bit of a drop down. Obviously, the 200 period is going to be a spot that I'm going to look at. So, that is a possibility there as well. I'm most excited for this week. Not most excited. I already talked about how Apple has now just Google's probably my biggest holding now just because of that ad, but definitely looking at some SoFi because this has been one that, we've struggled with recently, trying to find out where SoFi belongs in the portfolio. And it's had a real rough day, rough ride, I should say, in SoFi. So looking to see if we can correct some wrongs here with some SoFi trades into this next quarter. So SoFi right here, not doing the best and looking to see if they can come up with a number. And that number, of course, would be on, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday before market for SoFi. So yeah, looking to see if we can get some love in SoFi at that time. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right here. And just making sure that we're chill on this position. And it did have a nice move up to 1750, still up 3%. So maybe another name to look at here, SoFi, trying to give me some ways there. But yeah, that's going to be one there. All right, OpenAI's Altman.
Well, we already know this. I mean, they're reviewing new models with senior officials. Yeah, well, do all that review and figure out why you're hacking everybody. They didn't, like how long it took them for that, even realize that they had made that hack. So again, I actually don't think, and we were talking about this earlier, at this point, you're just not going to see that IPO this year. That's what the logic is telling you. Market sentiment's one part of it, for sure. What has happened to SpaceX has got to be a big part of it as well. So we could see Anthropic. We probably don't see them. There is one IPO this week, and shout out to the viewers for reminding us of this one. It's not C-Square. It was
Circle.
Shoot, no, not Circle. Dang it. No, I don't see it on the board anymore. Let me just refresh it. No, where are you? There's Jersey Mike's. There it is. I had to scroll up for some reason all the way top there. Yeah, Jersey Mike's is coming at the end of the month here. So Thursday, we're going to get Jersey Mike's. Maybe something non-tech is the way to go, and it'll have a little bit of a better extension. The long off the open is one thing, but you will want to see some of these IPOs actually do something the day after, and the day after that, and not just fall all over themselves, continuing to die. The M&A finally pulls back into VWAP, but we did get stopped out at that prior bar high. It doesn't break the high of the day we move the stop to, so we'll probably just scalp this inside, look for a break of the volume weighted average price, zoom it out, 17.25 to 17.3 looks like a bit of a zone if it loses that volume weighted average price. SLV pretty much doing the same thing. If you're looking at what's going on overall in crypto, that's back at the lows, which is one of the reasons I think BMR can come back all the way in here. But until DRAM catches some kind of a bid, it is really these memory names that are getting smoked. 3% from gapped up to now down and breaking the LOD. Yeah, yikes is the only way to think about it. Tesla, we like Tesla for a short at 327. Obviously, this has no chance to get there. But there's always the other side of the play for Tesla. The low right now says 306 from Friday, but that 300 psychological level could be a place to look for some kind of a bounce play on Tesla. Remember, their earnings, not the best. Like, you can say all you want about Alphabet's earnings being good, but Tesla had those dropping margins, which the market didn't like whatsoever, and it's been selling off ever since. So this was actually a fundamental reason to see this stock fall.
Yeah, Tesla's a name that really I haven't even thought about since the earnings call. I'm not impressed with my holdings over there, but we'll just let it float around. I mean, we do know that we've ridden Tesla for a very long time. So the profits are there, but they've been disappearing. We will hit the siren up and around because we're getting lighter and lighter, man. We just covered some more down there at 63.12s. I think it's a good time to do a roll call. I just asked everybody how their day's going. We have a lot of positivity there in the chat for how today's treating many of you. And I guess you must have ridden that short. And it's always nice when things start to trend, right? Like an Apple, we talked about that one, was one of our number one ideas on there, as was the Google longs. We've already gotten some nice thank yous for all that. But hey, let's go here. What's up, Bob Loblaw? We talked about that. What's up to Bob Loblaw on there as well, the owner of Loblaws. Micron right there, good one for DJ there. Mixmaster J, we want to shout out everybody that we also see on TikTok as well. Blicky Spears, thank you. You're always there and always providing us with some great content as well. Rudy's there, Electrical Trades. Here's your chance, man. Anybody on TikTok, write it in there. I'm going to find you right now. What's up to Sam? What's up to Jay Bronson? Welcome to have you back there. It's Jay Bronson, my guy over there. Joe says shablamo over there for you on that one. Chasing Zero. Cryptonomics is here as well. Big Wick Energy. We love that energy around here. Marcus as well. Easy peasy. There you are, easy peasy. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for your contributions to the stream as well. But by the way, man, the NASDAQ, as we do this, is really starting to tank down through now. Shout out to everybody that's there. Algo Assassin, Future Eddie, man. Maybe you can, if you can see the future, please let me know right there. And the one, the only 8883 says, hey. So thank you so much. And we do have this consolidated feed just to show everybody, if you zoom back out of that right now, just show everybody what it looks like on my screen right there. Andre, yeah. So we're looking at this right here and making sure that we're able to see everybody as we go along. Not just everybody from YouTube, everybody around the world, no matter where you are with us. But the bleed is on. And that is the NASDAQ just continues to get nastier and nastier as we're now 250 in the money. And this one, if you're talking about trading handles here, again, this is the TQs, not necessarily the market. That's a short that we started at 937. So if you go back over here and you just look at like the NASDAQ at 937, where were we, man? We were right up here. That's 28,600. You're now down to 28,122. So this is a 450 handle move straight to the downside right there on the NASDAQ with really no bouncing in sight. So hopefully some of you guys have this, as it looks like the NASDAQ is really starting to give it up, and we've done quite well, man. We're holding on to a little bit left on Apple just to see where this goes, 5% left there, and the TQs, yeah, now we're getting less. We're in about 5% of the TQs as well. So, you know, not looking great there on that side, but so far so good as we run the gauntlet to the short side. And all it took was a little bit of patience, man. Have the ability to flip it up. And we're glad that you guys are with us now. We're glad that there's some green traders out there. And hey, man, if you're not green, don't worry about it. It's still early. It's 10:30, and it doesn't matter. One day is one day. We'll be back here tomorrow. And the midday show's about to pick up here as well. This YA just keeps on halting. Nothing going on there. And unfortunately, Edible, one name that we thought
it's dead
could be a halter, still is not.
Well, it did halt twice.
Yeah.
It just halted in the wrong direction. The other one that's a bit of a dog is actually, it's KIDZ. Now, we didn't mention this one. Well, it was already losing VWAP and pulling back. That's why it didn't look as good as Edible. Let's be real for a second. But their CEO of this penny stock basically came out and said, we have cash on hand, 3x the market cap. Sent the stock up, came right back underneath VWAP and right back into where it started. This could be another potential like dead cat bounce if there is a fundamental story. So like 40 to 42 if it gets all the way to the bottom. I think there could be a little something there. And also people are throwing some other ones in there like ENTX as well. But like the bleed is starting to extend to like even things that were strong. That said, I'm going to stick with like 17.25 to 17.3 is going to be the out for BMR, but we just continue to flush lower. Tesla gone. We already talked about DRAM a little bit there. One name that we have not really gone over as much since the open, lost the $200 level, now at $199, is Nvidia. The thing about Nvidia is this is good value. It bounced off the 200 period before. That sits at 100. I don't think, maybe we get there, maybe we don't. It's about 194 to 94.5. So if that sees the 200 period today or tomorrow, I think Nvidia is a buy there. You can't tell me that as cheap as these guys have gotten. Like just look at Intel's quarter. Like Intel, we called Intel a good quarter. These guys, their CPU growth, which is what bread and butter is for Intel, was significantly better than theirs, and they come at a cheaper multiple. So ultimately, this stock gets down about $4 more, and you're getting into a level that it's held precipitously, which is at 200 SMA on Nvidia. Maybe we get there today, maybe we get there tomorrow, but I think it's a buy there.
All right, let's see here first. Dip buying on some Nvidia. I don't mind that idea at all. Yeah, TQs continue to go down, and I just tweeted out as well that I guess it wasn't a horrible idea to sell some AMD last week. That's down 7% right here. Wait till they report, and we see what kind of goods they're talking about. AMD downside, forever downside. No, just joking. It's been a great stock, obviously AMD. I think there could get a little bit of a bounce in Amazon here. at these levels. It's just made a new low, well, tried to make a new low actually into that level of 233, and we stopped completely that, almost on a dime twice at 233. I mean, that's 233.20s, but, comes right in early, bounces back up $2, doesn't get there. Now with NASDAQ pressure, I mean, this NASDAQ has completely flipped itself on its head, right? I mean, so we don't really need to worry about Amazon going downside too much further from here, I don't think. Down right now, still up, but down on the move, and giving us a good buy zone there at 233 for AMZN. Yeah, man, and you guys had that there. Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, for the TQQ trade, you guys in the chat there. I mean, it's been, like I said, it's been a day maker there for me. I'm going to stop out of Apple if we take out, I mean, I was looking at this 50 period, this 25 period moving average rate into there, but, we were lucky enough to get, I mean, it was, look, we were sitting there, obviously getting the low wick of the day there on Apple is pretty lucky, but it was just a matter of sitting there at 33. We're at 33.05, I believe there, or 334.05. We caught it, was really surprised by it, wasn't sure I liked it at the time. I mean, the NASDAQ was bleeding down, but Apple still remains pretty strong. So let's use this as our stop out right there. Remember, this stop was 30 cents to give us $3. That's 10 to 1 right there. We got to be happy when we make trades like that. And I'm going to cancel my stop and go to 336. Just use this. Actually, let's just use 50s. 336, because we don't have very much left. 336.49. We'll give this one about of a buck downside there if it does wind up bleeding. I mean, all that's going to happen is this position is just maturing up into, for me, it might be the trade of the week and it's only Monday. Like, this has been a big one here. It's a big P&L name for me as it just continues to go downside here. Too bad. Not too bad, but we got a lot out there as we broke lower, but it's been a really good hold into some of these lows. So far, actually so good here as we wait to see, potential moves lower here in the NASDAQ. And yeah, as we mentioned, to each their own. You never knew which way to go early, I feel like. And Google started us off with such a nice run there. Now it's pulling way back, right? So Google, Amazon, strong names that I think have runways higher might be the names to buy if there's a rebound here in the NASDAQ. We're already long Apple. So you still got the short BMR. And I know you rode that SpaceX nicely to the downside there. And we'll have to look at IBIT. It's coming right back into 64.6 again.
Well, we got to look at SpaceX too, according to Cheese on a Chair, because he just got off the phone with the janitor at SpaceX. Okay, what's the janitor saying? He says he wants his Ferrari ASAP, but he has to wait until August 6th.
Yeah, he does.
Right. Well, August 6th is going to be a very important day where I don't know what they're going to tell us that makes us feel better about the stock, but the good news for SpaceX is probably how much it's bled going into earnings. It's where you've come from more than sometimes what the report is going to be, because what the heck are they supposed to report to us? Right. So like at this point, they're at 109. You follow this trend, I still think they're at 80. SpaceX. Like all roads are leading to something with an 8 handle on it before we get to those earnings. And at that point, like you've almost got cut in half from the 150 level. So, maybe it's got a little bit of a pep in its step after, especially the lockup too. Like, sell the news here might be buy on SpaceX.
We actually, let's go. Pound the sirens again, my guys. There it goes right now. It is your sticky note trade number 2 here. IBIT long 36.50. So there it goes. Okay, we got it now. Oh, you got the money dropping over there as well. There we go. You got the I got money there. I get money from 50 coming through there. Thanks, Fabian, for doing that. But there's IBIT. There's the bid. There's the offer. It just came right in. I like that one, Fabian. That was a good one. But IBIT right now kicking it just a little bit higher. I don't know if 50 cents involved in Bitcoin or not, but we are right here. And we'll take a little bit out there at 62s, and then we'll wait to see if it goes a little higher. Remember our stop on this, man? I'm going to give this one 10 cents off of the posted level of 50s. So this may fall out. I want to take advantage of it. It's a level that we wrote down. So we're going to definitely hit that. We'll see if it gets going up to the upside right there. And then, this one's the I get money one, because this TQ's just hit the lows there again at $62. And the long-term account is not getting any money, but this is definitely bleeding out right now for us on the market. And that is the NASDAQ. What is ES even doing right now? ES is like, hey man, we're in a completely different world altogether. ES only down 0.2 right now as the NASDAQ just absolutely bleeding all over itself, brought to you by the likes of Lip-Bhutan, and Intel down another 4 and change right there, right, as that gets lower. Brought to you by Lisa Su and AMD. Brought to you by Jensen and Nvidia. I mean, this is down 8%. Wow, man, that was great. I was feeling bad about that AMD sell. And there's Nvidia down 4% there as well. Let alone, we haven't even looked at ARM or any of these other names.
Well,
probably getting crushed.
You know exactly where ARM is going to be. It's just not as far down as I would have expected given this bloodbath. It's red, obviously, but only 2.5% down for ARM. I can't figure a reason why, like Marvell's 5, Intel's 5, SMCI's 4. It's not as bad as Nvidia, but think of it this way. It's already pulled back so far. I think that's the story. If something has already been dumped super hard, maybe it's got a little bit less room to go. But if you want to know why there's some strength in the ES, there's some interesting names that are up top that are strong today. Obviously, you can talk about Microsoft and Apple, Alphabet, but the IGV, Palantir.
Yeah.
Palantir is actually, well, I don't want to be jinxing it. This is usually that time of day. If I point out something relatively strong, then I'm jinxing it. Palantir only just lost VWAP after breaking out this morning. So if we see chips down, it's usually meant that there is some get up in some of the software names. And that's kind of what you're seeing. Like the IGV chart is identical to Palantir's chart. So I want to respect these names. Could have a nice little bounce play here. Maybe Palantir is probably a better opportunity than IGV in general. Maybe not as strong, but you like a bull flag and then break this trend. The IGV is kind of holding VWAP a little bit better. But I think these turn into we sold back in, break it back out to the upside here. Realistically, they're also making some higher lows on the daily chart as well. The only thing I'm in right now is with a trailing stop, and that's going to be BMNR. So it got almost to the target, which was at 30 level, like right in here. That's the low from, I believe, Wednesday. And if it breaks this consolidation up, I'm out. Otherwise, hold it for a little bit more of a jaunt to the downside. But yeah, look at those software names. They're the other place you're going to find a little bit of buying.
All right. We try to find a little bit of buying there in IBIT. It does give us our 50 fill. So we're taking some more outs here at 57 and 58 on the way back to the upside here as we wait to see if we do get a little bit of love back up. Remember, our stop was always going to be 10 cents. So if this breaks 40, we're going to get out. So if we can actually just start to cash out a little bit on this, I think that would be worth it because the market seems to be falling down here. We'll take another fill right there so we get that one as well up there at 59. So we are getting less and less. I'm actually already out of half of this trade already for IBIT. So it'd be a good one. We'll just put it back into our account right now. And wow, this market is now 350. This trade is almost 1,000 handles now, 1,000 NASDAQ points in the money, as we have just gone from up 1.5% right here all the way to the downside, and the bleeding is continuing, man. And I don't know when it's going to stop, as we had said, most of the bellwethers here not holding up. So yeah, not good. Every bounce, man, met by more selling in the space. So yeah, happy to be here with you guys today. It's been a real good one. Yeah, 200 MA. Yeah, good call there, Salvador. We do have to go back to Dara, so we'll talk to her in a couple seconds. But yeah, this is the name that's interesting me the most right here. But hey, man, we're 20 minutes away from getting to the gym. I'm not going to sit here and take anything. I'm now at right now, where's my money storm right there? We're at 3x our day right now. So it's been a good day so far. It's a good hour of trading, needless to say here, for the account. So, and the market is still going lower, by the way, which I should take another take out here. And this is what we're trying to do, man. Hold these plays for longer. And I think we did a pretty good job here today with the NASDAQ as we go over to the desk with Adara.
If you look at this board here versus the market, it becomes increasingly clear that this market is so reliant on tech that if we have a little bit of pullback in aspects of tech, the entire NASDAQ will crumble. Now, S&P 500 relatively flat, but NASDAQ down 1%. And as you can see here, there are areas of tech that are actually quite strong, specifically technology services. I do not see a single red name here. Sorry, there's one here, this AKAM, Akami, pulling back. Everything else, though, pretty strong here in tech services, with Oracle up 5%, CRM up nearly 6%, same with Adobe, same with Synopsys. Oh, sorry, this is Accenture. Synopsys, though, also up 4.5%. So if you were one of those tech names that got hit pretty hard during the SaaSmageddon, you might be doing okay today. You also will be doing okay today if you're retail trade, health technology, consumer services, commercial services, finance, consumer non-durables. Now, the areas that are struggling a lot are the semiconductor and memory plays. You've got an electronic tech here, Nvidia down 4%, Micron down 7%, Dell down 5.5%, AMD down 9%, Intel, SanDisk, Western Digital, SPCX, anything that is memory related or chip related, very likely getting hit today. Producer manufacturing also struggling here with Caterpillar, LRCX, GEV, and AMAT sharply to the downside. Energy minerals red. We know that oil pulling back here as the US and Iran, according to some sources, apparently trying to negotiate. According to Iran, they're not doing that. Regardless, oil pulling back. Transportation also weaker today. Back to you.
Thank you, Adair. And well, it might be the worst day for the market momentum is a good one for Netflix. I suppose that's the way it's going to go. We always talk about this as sometimes it only ever catches a bid when everything else is dying. But you look at that trend, and I get a little bit skeptical. Like at some point, you put up or shut up. That flat bottom break on Netflix is now 30 cents away from that prior low. So this one is probably set up. It's about 71.20, 71 quarters or so. If the market eventually catches a bid, I think some of these strong names might reverse. So there's one that gives you a little bit of a resistance spot for it. SpaceX is 108 now. Might see 105 in here today. Like the bleed for this, ignore the 50 period, that's not real. The bleed for this is just getting absolutely nasty. Every $5 psychologically on SpaceX just feels like a potential bounce zone. And we said there have not been many green candles to try to get a bounce off of. The next one will be the first opportunity to do so at this point. And Grenfell, will Tesla hit 300 today? That's the only place psychologically that I would even think about along. Because I think 280 is the spot here on Tesla. Like start thinking, forget about we've already lost this. 280 is right in here where it was holding the higher lows from July. So that's the level that I'm looking at for Tesla. Seemingly, it's the last spot where there was consecutive buying. Like it wasn't just one wick bottom. There were buyers down in the 280s for a couple of months. Last time we were there in July, about a year ago. So yeah, it feels like that's where we're headed to.
Yeah, and just FYI to everybody, the Qs, we're starting to cover a little bit more. I'm getting flat on this, and we have half of our IBIT position. Hopefully this won't fall out and become a loser, but it looks like it's falling down. I am not reloading it. I mean, we talked about getting out. We actually had some more opportunities to get out again in the high 50s, so we're going to do that. And we just did, bless you, we just did cover some more rate down into there as well. So yeah, so far so good. There was another name. You just mentioned something there. Oh, ASML halted downside over there in Europe. It's down 10% there, I guess. I just heard in my ear that ASML had halted. So I guess it's halted over in Europe right now, but there it goes to the downside, down 7% today. One of ASML's worst days that I can remember here, and it's not on a good story, man. I think it's going to get worse. I just heard into my ear that ASML was halted on the downside. So I don't know, maybe it didn't. But there it is right now, ASML right now, 1600 coming right for you. Yeah, it's not like it's that bad. I mean, we have seen many of these names where we look over and it's like you're just back to June lows. And so ASML is just one of those. I just think it's one of those names that we're not really used to seeing getting hurt that bad. But today, the story there, of course, in China. And if you want to relay that story as well, competitor there in China building similar machines, I believe?
Yeah, so basically a Chinese firm, in order to help reduce China's reliance on ASML, they're apparently starting mass production of their first DUV lithography machines. Now, apparently, output, as I was seeing described, is, quote, tiny. The source is also the information, which we know has sometimes not been viewed as the most accurate, though I think some of those issues have gone away over the last couple of months. Haven't heard too much more about that inaccuracy issue, but either way, that's coming from the information earlier today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not a shareholder. I'm worried. We've seen this before, right? I mean, with the release of DeepSeek, with the release of Kimi over there in the last couple of weeks, and that's been a big talk there as Huawei and some of the China names start to really pick up a little bit of steam. I don't, like I said, I've already sold the positions I want to sell. And other than that, man, let's try to pick up some Marvell. Like, I'm not afraid. I don't think we all need to be like too afraid of China. It's just they are a big player, and they've always been, and especially when it comes down to technology. And we do have President Xi coming end of August. I believe that story was one that was reported last week. So it could be. It's definitely not beginning of August because that's next week. So coming through, we'll see if there's some sort of a deal that's reached there and some more positive talk on tariffs and whatnot. I think we can all benefit from that and hearing some positivity coming from President Trump about some China deals. So I took advantage of that, and we just mentioned getting out of our queues. So, we had done that. We'll take another piece right now. Let's get the rest out here on a 63 break. We've really followed this 25 period all the way down. So it looks like we're going to break it now, but we already have enough outs there. So let's go 63, and that will be the end of that one, and we'll wrap up that trade right there alone. So it's going to be a really good one there. We start off the week pretty hot. It's only 10:48. Once again, man, we never got the what's for lunch, so we'll have to skip that segment until that starts to come back through. But yeah, we'll cancel the TQs, and you just saw me put it out there. 63.01 as we'll go to the gym, and we'll come back and see where this is. But that's what we're doing now. And then we just got another fill on IBIT. It came right back up to 57. So just trying to get some out. I don't have the confidence in this IBIT trade to hold it for too far. So we're going to get out some 58s. Then I have some topside 64 and 67. And after that, if we can get back up into VWAP, then we'll take the rest out there in the 80s. But yeah, just 3 for 3. Apple was a banger, obviously, to the upside there. This is a big one. The Qs, which is TQs, but the shorting of the NASDAQ there was a big one. And then we'll just wait to see with IBIT. But we should be able to play with house money now. So it should be a good day overall. Just 3 names over here.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know what's going on with IBIT, but I just trailed out of, sneeze. I just trailed out of BMNR as it finally broke back above. It's not the first green candle, but it's the first one to completely engulf and break back out the prior. So we're out. It's underneath VWAP, which is fine. We'll take another shot at it. But DRAM for the lows just made another trend break. We tried on Intel when it did a trend break, and then DRAM did this heavy trend. So this is from basically the opening range, which is about 10 o'clock. There's that trend down. I tried to snag it here through 60s, didn't, got 89s, left the 60 bid in just to try to get swept up, and we're looking for almost halfway to VWAP and then the volume weighted average price. So there's like 3, including these 2 green candles from that drop, like 1 here, and then the first bounce on this heavy bottom here on DRAM. Whether you're looking at Micron, whether you're looking at SK Hynix, they've all done basically the same little bottom in here. We're gonna go back up to the desk. We've got Adara and Money Talks.
Oh, good.
Money Talks. But are we listening? Let's take a look here at the US dollar. This is the 3rd straight green day for the DXY. Though it's interesting, these highs are actually getting slightly lower each of these 3 days. We actually opened here around 101.3 for the DXY, then dropped all the way down to 101.1, bouncing up here to 101.5 around where we're currently trading. Now, this US dollar, we've obviously been making higher highs and higher lows if we zoom out here, starting with January 27th, that low we had there. So about 6 months here of a gradual uptrend on the DXY. But even right now here, if you go in just like a tighter time frame, over the last month or so, starting with this high we made in June, specifically June 24th, we pull back, now we're trying to bounce. So let's see if we can break that high from June 24th. The next level to break would then be this high we made last May of 2025, that around 102. Looks like we're trying to curl potentially higher on the DXY, some technical levels to keep an eye on. Let's take a look here at the CME FedWatch tool, because things are getting really interesting when it comes to the rate decision that we could be getting on Wednesday, July 29th, with the FOMC meeting. Sean and Neil were both saying at this point you've got about, 2/3 chance that we'll get rates held, 1/3 chance that we'll get a hike. That is remaining the case today. Almost 40% now chance, 38% or so, that we'll get a hike. But if you go to probabilities, we're also still seeing the chance that we get 2 hikes throughout 2026. So the first hike still expected to come through in September of 2026, then the December meeting set to potentially give us our 2nd hike of the year. After that, rates expected to be held steady for the time being. But as we know, some big economic data coming out later this week. I believe we're going to get PCE, I think, on Friday. So that's certainly going to be Thursday. That's going to be one to watch. That also, though, does come after the July right decision one day after. So interesting look here, lots of data to keep an eye on as we head into the back half of the year. Back to you.
Sharif just came in and was like, what the hell's going on with this Apple entry? This was just, we just sat there at 334, man. I mean, I talked about the 200 period moving average. Shout out to Salvador as well. Thanks, Adara, for doing such good work back there, by the way. We talked about it right here. And I see Sia in the building. Glad to have her back again, of course, today. After filling in for Adara quite nicely last week. I want to say thank you to Sia for that. But there's 325, good hold, and the 200 period. Again, it wasn't, you know, you would have lost on this if you took the 200 period moving average, but maybe a break back through on a bid there, well spotted. And then IBIT as well. We talked about getting out at 58, so we did it. And there it goes, man. Just a little while left. And I have something bad to tell you, Sharif. Unfortunately, well, nothing really happened that bad. But Edible is not the stock that we would hope that someone would have eaten up today.
Well, unfortunately. No, the problem is they did, and then they just stopped buying.
Yeah,
that's the real problem.
They got real high. Now they're just stone cold chilling.
They're looking for some munchies.
Edible is looking. It's just relaxing right now. It's had maybe too many edibles.
Yes. That stock is about as exciting as Disclosure Day. That was a disappointing movie.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, the nephew wanted to watch a movie instead.
What is Disclosure Day? Oh, that's the name of the movie?
It's a Spielberg film.
Oh, okay.
It's. I'm not saying Spielberg's lost his magic, but it's like it was a rehash of like a bunch of other Spielberg. Like if you've seen Encounters of the Fourth Kind, it was that plus like Super 8, plus like just a couple of he's done this type of a theme so many times, and it was basically the same thing again. So it was like, it's entertaining. And it's probably better if you haven't seen some of his other space-related, alien-related films, but. Yeah, disappointing. I'm much more interested in eventually catching that obsession, which I think I might just watch that myself. My wife hates horror films. I want to give that one a shot. So look, we DRAM. There was the trend break. There's the line where it wicked, so I put a trailing stop when it wicked that line. Why is there a line there? Because this is the bottom. Here is resistance on DRAM right there at 52, and then this bottoming tail wick at 51.5. That's why I was saying 51.5 was the spot. Just looking at it on the 15-minute, because if you don't break out and hold above here, then this is still like it's just like a false bounce overall. So it can be continuation over this, or potentially even continuation back into the southbound side of the trade. We only have about 5 minutes to go here, so I want to go over quickly show you Rocket Labs, which is catching a bit of a trend break in its own right. Remember, they had their own story here where they had a contract. So it already broke the trend, so there's no entry for me there. But if it holds 65 in the next 3-minute bar, then I would take a shot at this, giving it to the prior stop, hold some into the volume weighted average price. There, Drew Farrell saying KIDZ. That one was dead. Maybe 70, maybe 40 pennies. Oh shoot, it isn't dead anymore. Yeah, KIDZ, catching a bit of a bid. This could be your small capper. So forget about Edible. This one's actually going. 66 million volume. CEO came out and basically was telling you that they've got enough cash on hand that's 3x their market cap, which for a penny stock, that's probably enough to get it squeezing, and seems like it's got a secondary push here as the market found a bit of a bid, and at least this small capper is doing something. See, the one you write off for dead, and it's not dead just yet. If it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go.
I know you're not a big matcha guy, but this weekend Tim Hortons released matcha. So I want to tell that to Adara because she's a matcha.
I already got one, Sean.
So did I.
I don't mind it. I actually was funny. I was talking to someone who works at Tim's in Winnipeg, and she was giving me a whole bunch of insider info.
Okay, I wanted to know about it.
The vanilla matcha cold foam, and that was actually really good. That's what I went with.
Okay, yeah, I just went with the normal matcha. It wasn't the greatest, but I don't know if it was unsweet or I don't know what it was. I gotta find out all the. I like my stuff unsweetened if I can get it unsweetened, or at least maybe half sweet. But I'm gonna have to go take that advice. So vanilla matcha, okay. Is that the cold foam you mentioned there, or that's?
Apparently, it's an unflavored cold foam. If you just get the vanilla matcha, I think that's naturally how it comes. But yeah, I got it with almond milk. It was good. Shout out to the person who gave you that tip.
Okay, good. Shout out to that person. There, Winnipeg doing a bunch of things. All right, we just punched out, so that's it, man. The hot dog gun is now, watch out, man. Glizzy's coming right in the face right there as we get it. going again on the TQQs. Oh, and here's one we have for you too, Sharif. Let's see if this works. We got a little 50. Yeah, it happened. Fabian doing all the best right there. So I don't know if we run New York or not, but this is NASDAQ right here. It's a nice move lower. And then we're trying to get out. We just got out some more IBIT. So we didn't say we would get a little bit of this on IBIT right there as well to the top right there. Well, we got to mess with Joey Options over there. He's got the Stone Cold, which is such a great hit. The Stone Cold.
It's iconic.
Right there. So there it is anyways. There we go. You have multiple breaks there. So shout out. But we're having a great time around here.
Flow.
But we're just trying to get IBIT out. So if IBIT does break below 40s, we're out of that one. So we'll hold that. We only have a third left at this position. And there's only 2 minutes left in the day. So NASDAQ battling back. I mean, we were down 1%. Great battle back there for the NASDAQ. Definitely respecting that move. And the ES green. So we have market green. Out of all this negativity today, the market has turned green, the overall market. That is your ES S&P 500 right there. So the NASDAQ still trying to go lower, but the ES definitely saying hold my beer there and doing all the heavy lifting for the general market there. So yeah, great time to be short, great time to be long off the lows. So yeah, that's it. No positions over here except for this IBIT right now.
Yeah, this DRAM really can't get past this 51.5. It's just stalling out. It seems like that'll be the next thing, but if it can't go, like there's Micron, that's a great bounce off the lows, but if it just makes another turn, right-hand turn to the downside, you hit first resistance, and if you don't go any further, then you got to respect it. Apparently, KIDZ is breaking out. Is it the high? I had the high at 65. It broke out here at 55. Buy the dip, maybe into the volume weighted average price. 65 goes. If 65 goes on this stock, this is the gap fill. Because 65 is that huge top. Go back, when in doubt, zoom out. 65 is what it lost on that massive day right in the afternoon. And if it breaks out above that, then you can get a potential squeeze. So yeah, look for something at that 65, maybe 66 level for a break to the upside. Well, we might not know what lunch is. Someone in the chat said we should lie to them and just tell them that we're having like pork and beans and like toast. If they ever gave us baked beans and toast, meatloaf.
Sharif, these guys already found it.
The meatloaf. We want it. Who doesn't know that reference? Joe doesn't know the reference to. Really? Do you know that? Wow. Okay. Do you even you know who said it, Joe?
He doesn't know the reference.
Some people. Sometimes you might have seen the meme somewhere. Obviously, it's a fantastic movie. And if you've never ever had Mom's Meatloaf, then you know you want to make sure it's Will Ferrell's Mom's Meatloaf.
Yeah, it's old school, I believe.
No, that was Wedding Crashers. That one. Yeah.
See, so I missed it, but would have got.
But you know Will Ferrell. That's the thing. At least you know Will Ferrell.
We were actually
still gotta watch The Hawk.
Last night Last night we made homemade meatballs, so similar to a meatloaf, but we put it in ball format.
Meatballs, meatloaf.
That was really tasty there last night.
Meatballs are obviously better.
Shout out to the wife, but it's okay. Good day. It's 11:01. Thanks to Derek. Glad to have you back. Meatballs. We're going to be joined by Sia momentarily as well. Thank you to Fabian, because without Fabian, then we wouldn't have got all this money today. So we want to thank Fabian for that one. We want to thank Andre as well over there. Big shout out to One and Only. He's here today as well. Thanks, Brendo. Ramin is here. Tiffany, everybody that's part of this great team. Shout out to Sharif as well. He'll be back coming out very, very soon to a stream near you. And so will Joe. So we have a big show coming your way in just a matter of moments. But hey, it's Meatloaf. It's coming out, to a plate near you. Well, hopefully the meatloaf will be okay. Maybe it has a little bit of sauce on it, Neil.
I don't trust these guys for the meatloaf, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't really.
Hopefully the meatloaf is good. See ya, everybody. We're back at 2 p.m. We'll chat then.
Put some hot sauce on.
Ciao.